Welcome to a massive compilation of some of my Fallout videos. Before we get into it, I just want to say that if you've seen this video before and you're confused, then I apologize. When I first uploaded this video, it did amazing, but then it received an advisory warning unjustly by YouTube. All thanks to a bald guy in Rivet City that likes to travel to the top of the boat and take in the scenery. If you know, you know. Anyways, I cut that part out and I'm re-uploading it here on my new channel. So if you've already seen this, then no worries. But if you could leave a like, I'd be super grateful. I also wanted to thank you guys for the 3,000 subs on this channel. It's truly amazing to see. We have so much more content on this channel for you guys that aren't in this video. So make sure you check them out and subscribe for a whole lot more to come. Sorry I wasted too much of your time, and sorry for the mic quality changes throughout the video, but I've also changed throughout these videos. Thank you guys again, and enjoy.
Vault 22, known as the Vault of the Future, was a pre-war vault tech facility dedicated to agricultural research. The vault's primary goal was to develop advanced agricultural technologies to combat global hunger. Scientists within the vault worked on various projects, including improving crop production, developing advanced fertilizers, and increasing crop resistance to insects, drought, and disease. One of the key experiments conducted in Vault 22 involved the use of Bovaria mordicana, an entomopathogenic fungus originally designed for pest control. This fungus was capable of infesting and killing pests by colonizing their bodies. However, the fungus mutated after the Great War, becoming capable of infecting humans. The fungal infection spread rapidly throughout the vault, causing chaos and leading to a collapse of social order. Infected individuals became spore carriers, mindless creatures controlled by the fungal colony, whose sole purpose was to spread the spores. The infection proved to be untreatable, as the fungal colony actively resisted antifungal treatments, eventually leading to the victim's death due to organ failure. In an attempt to contain the outbreak, the vault scientists released a gas in the lower levels of the facility, hoping to kill the carriers. However, this action triggered an aggressive response from the carriers, who attacked the scientists, resulting in further chaos and casualties. By 2096, Vault 22 was abandoned, with the remaining survivors either dead or turned into spore carriers. Some survivors left the vault and traveled to Zion Canyon, where they clashed with a group of Mexican refugees. Randall Clark, a survivor and guardian of the valley, attempted to help the refugees, but discovered that the vault dwellers had killed and eaten them. This discovery drove Clark to wage a brutal war against the vault dwellers, eventually driving them out of the canyon. Over time, Vault 22 fell into disrepair, with its interior overrun by mutated plants and creatures. The vault remained largely untouched until 2281, when Thomas Hildern of the NCR's Office of Science and Industry took an interest in the vault's agricultural technologies. Hildern hired mercenaries, including Keeley, a ghoul, to investigate the vault and retrieve any valuable information that could enhance the NCR's agricultural output. However, Keeley went missing during her investigation, leading to further mystery surrounding Vault 22 and its deadly secrets. Vault 77 is a Vault-Tec fallout shelter featured in a promotional comic strip called One Man and a Crate of Puppets, released to promote Fallout 3. This vault was sealed with only one person inside on October 23, 2077, the day of the bombs. The sole occupant, later known as the Puppet Man, initially believed there had been a mistake and pleaded for others to be let in. However, his pleas went unanswered and he was left alone in the vault. Over the years of solitude, the Puppet Man's mental state deteriorated. On February 4, 2079, he discovered a crate of puppets and began playing with them. He became so engrossed in his puppet games that he started to believe that the Vault Boy puppet was talking to him. This culminated in an event where he tore apart the King puppet and accused the Vault Boy puppet of murder. The Vault Boy puppet explained that it was actually the Puppet Man himself who had committed the murder, leading the two to flee the vault together. The Puppet Man left Vault 77, leaving it uninhabited. In 2277, a lone Vault 77 jumpsuit and a holotape were found in Paradise Falls in the Capital Wasteland. The holotape contained an audio recording mentioning the jumpsuit and expressing fear that the Puppet Man might return for it. The whereabouts of Vault 77 are unknown, and little else is known about its interior or location. However, the comic suggests that the Puppet Man emerged into an arid desert with dull tan sand. Additionally, there is mention of a one-armed ghoul who may have been ghoulified in his vault experiment, though the specifics of this are unclear. Vault 12 is one of the vaults constructed by Vault-Tec, located beneath the city of Bakersfield, California. in the post-war ghoul settlement known as Necropolis. It was advertised as being built with every amenity for prospective vault dwellers, earning it the Pressed Vault Suit Award for preparedness. The vault was equipped with a state-of-the-art water purification system, capable of providing over 15,000 gallons of pure drinking water daily, even from the city's sewer system. However, the true purpose of Vault 12 was to study the effects of radiation on its inhabitants. Unlike other vaults, its door was designed not to close, allowing radiation to flood in when the bombs fell on October 23, 2077. The surviving residents of Bakersfield seeking shelter forced their way into the vault, unaware of its design. The radiation exposure caused those who survived to undergo ghoulification. In the summer of 2083, the survivors left the vault and founded Necropolis. Over time, a man named Set seized power and ruled over Necropolis, while some ghouls who opposed his leadership took shelter underground. Set, despite his disdain for these peaceful ghouls, provided them with water, fearing he would lose defenders if they left. The layout of Vault 12 is typical of other vaults, with levels dedicated to medical facilities, living quarters, and recreational areas. However, due to its door never fully sealing, the vault is dirty and deteriorated. Glowing ones, ghouls with retained mental faculties, inhabit the vault and will only attack if the water pump is not repaired after the water chip is taken. The water chip, crucial for the Vault Dweller's quest and Fallout, is located in the command center, attached to the only operational computer. Have you ever run into a flux sensor on your travels in the Commonwealth? If not, then you need to visit Scribe Hayland and accept a quartermastery quest for a chance of the junk item to spawn in. Once you have the item, then just turn that bad boy around and you'll find some interesting numbers. The text reads Flux Sensor CM88B 180924609. This label is a reference to the movie Alien and its central spaceship, the USCSS Nostromo. In the movie, CM88B is the model of the ship and 180924609 is its registration number. Did you know that there are 5 Pip-Boy games found within Fallout 4 and they all reference real-life versions of themselves? You can find each of these games scattered throughout the wasteland or accessed in the hidden room with the console command sheets. The first game, The Red Menace, is definitely a reference to the old Donkey Kong games. Atomic Command is obviously Missile Command. Pitfall is of course Pitfall. Zeta Invaders is Space Invaders. And last but not least, Grognak and the Ruby Ruins is a reference to either Bard's Tale or even Ultima. The games are all pretty well made and fleshed out. Grognak, for example, is a full-fledged old-school RPG that uses a party system, dungeons, and an overworld map. In Backstreet Apparel, there's a hidden reference to the movie Ted created by Seth MacFarlane. Inside one of the nearby bathrooms, you'll find a teddy bear toy wearing glasses sitting on a toilet. This is a direct nod to the scene in the movie where Ted, the talking bear, does the exact same thing. You can collect both the teddy bear and the paper he's reading to add to your inventory. Then head back home to that collector settlement you've been building and add a nice new piece. If you visit Diamond City on December 25th, you'll find the town adorned with Christmas trees and lights. These decorations remain until New Year's Eve, adding a festive touch to the city and suggesting that the residents still celebrate pre-war holidays. Similarly, visiting Diamond City on Halloween reveals the city decorated with Halloween-themed items. I ran into Diamond City making a video a few weeks ago and found the Halloween decorated town. It was the first time I experienced this and I had no clue it was in the game, even after the thousands of hours I put in. Everyone knows about Codsworth calling you funny names, but do you know just how extensive it goes? Let me demonstrate.
Mr. Bond, Mr. Cancer, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Electra, Mr. Heisenberg,
Goddamn right.
Mr. Hellcat, Mr. Hero, Mr. Joker, Mr. Phasma, Mr. Scorpion, Mr. Sherlock, Mr. Starbuck, Mr. Wigglesworth, Mr. Assface, Mr. Bacon, Mr. Badass, Mr. Cock, Mr. Django, Mr. Erectus, Mr. Fuck, Mr. Fucker, Mr. Fuckface, Mr. Katniss, Mr. Marky Poo, Mr. Boobies, Mr. Titties, Mr. Wanderer,
And so much more. Half of these names are Easter eggs within themselves. There's a hidden reference to Star Wars in an Army magazine called the Covert Operations Manual. This can be found in the Federal Surveillance Center K-21B underneath an abandoned shack that's located right here. Readers familiar with Star Wars might quickly recognize the reference to Obi-Wan Kenobi's quote from A New Hope. In the movie, Obi-Wan uses a mind trick on the stormtrooper saying, "These are not the droids you're looking for." This Easter egg might go unnoticed by many players, but it's a fun nod to Star Wars. It's interesting to see that even in the Fallout universe, the military might be drawing inspiration from a Jedi Master, despite the tragic outcomes of the wars in both fictional universes. Have you seen this painting? But have you really seen it? Up close. You can find it here at the Dugout Inn in Diamond City. You might stumble upon this painting featuring a familiar face, Todd Howard. While at first glance the painting may appear to depict Napoleon, closer inspection reveals that it's actually Todd Howard, the executive director at Bethesda. Howard has been instrumental in the development of every Fallout game created by Bethesda. It's pretty cool finding old God Howard in the game. Just make sure you put up a shrine for him. Dear Lord and Savior God Howard, give us Fallout 3 Remaster. Our last Easter egg to go over is a big one, with lots and lots of references. All we need to do to begin is head on over to Takahashi's Noodle Stand, which in itself is of course a reference to Blade Runner. Honestly, it's quite easy to see that most of the game took a lot of inspiration from the Blade Runner universe, but there are specific locations that directly take from the movie. Like I said, the first is Takahashi's Noodle Stand in Diamond City. It's a reference to the noodle bar Deckard eats at the beginning of Blade Runner. Takahashi even uses the same greeting as the man in the movie. Covenant's safe test is a reference to not only Fallout 3's GOAT test, but it's also a reference to the Voight Kampff test used in Blade Runner to distinguish humans from replicants. The Courser uniform looks a lot like Roy Batty's jacket. Like a Courser, Roy Batty's a military model replicant with enhanced combat abilities. Tyrell is the CEO of the corporation which makes replicants in the movie. Roy Batty calls Tyrell father in their climatic confrontation, which is likely the inspiration for Synth's calling Sean father in the Institute. On the roof of the mass fusion containment shed, there's a kneeling Synth next to a human body, reenacting the final conversation between Batty and Deckard, and there's still a whole lot more to be found. That's right, your favorite furry companion exists in the very first game. Dogmeat is extremely important to the Fallout franchise as he is the only companion that can be found throughout most of the mainline Fallout games. Now whether you believe he's the same Dogmeat or not is up for debate. Fans just find it odd that there are multiple dogs in different times and different places around the wasteland that are all named Dogmeat. Maybe because it's an ongoing joke that has circled around the wasteland and wastelanders. Maybe it's just mere coincidence. Or maybe it's because he's an eldritch being. No, I'm not joking. Some people really believe that, and in my Fallout Iceberg video, I go over the theory a little more. But we're just going to follow the safest route and assume all these lovable canines are separate beings that exist in different times and places. Dogmeat 1, as I like to call him, is a loyal and formidable canine companion that can be found in Junktown, where he's causing a bit of trouble for an old man named Phil by blocking his doorway. However, the Vault Dweller, the player character, can recruit Dogmeat by distracting him with an iguana on a stick or by wearing a leather jacket. This is similar to Dogmeat's previous owner. Once recruited, Dogmeat becomes a reliable companion in combat, capable of dealing significant damage with his 3 attacks per turn. The backstory of Dogmeat is pretty tragic, as his previous owner was killed by thugs hired by Gizmo, a notorious character in Junktown. Despite this, Dogmeat forms a strong bond with the Vault Dweller and becomes an essential ally on their journey. Dogmeat is named for the titular dog in the 1975 movie A Boy and His Dog, which is based on the novel by the famed sci-fi author Harlan Ellison. Its plot concerns an apparently psychic dog conversing with the human Vic as they both scour the wasteland for food and women. The dog's name was Blood, but Vic also called him Dogmeat. He also invokes the dog from Mad Max the Road Warrior, where you can see that Max wears a leather jacket and carries a sawed-off shotgun. These all sound incredibly similar to Dogmeat's previous owner. So let's talk about the Fallout Bible and what it has to do with Dogmeat and the rest of the companions on this list and Fallout 2. The Fallout Bible is a collection of documents containing background material for the first Fallout games. They were compiled, written, and released by Fallout 2 designer Chris Avellone in 2002. Chris himself said the things in the Bible weren't canon, but then Bethesda decided that some of it was. So it's really hard to say what is or isn't canon because they like to pick and choose. The reason I bring this up is because the Bible has some interesting things to say about what happened to Dogmeat. Unfortunately, it does let us know that Dogmeat died in 2162. But that's really weird because, spoiler alert, he may or may not show up in Fallout 2, which takes place long after Fallout 1. Also, a quick last note on this character. He was actually named Dog Shit in the beginnings of the game's creation. So that's a little fun fact.
Happened a few decades back. Basically, a bunch of countries got kind of antsy, and everything went boom.
Ian is a short, stocky caravan guard who adopted Shady Sands as his new home. He was working for the Crimson Caravan Company during a routine caravan route to the small settlement. However, routine does not mean safe. He was shot by raiders and then he stayed in Shady Sands to recuperate. His experience and skills helped him contribute, as very few of the townsfolk ever left its safe walls. He does occasionally make a run to Junktown and the hub to do trading. He's strong, confident, and independent, a perfect wastelander. Ian can be recruited as a companion for 100 caps or for free if the player character has an intelligence of 6 or higher. As a companion, he's skilled with small guns and can use pistols, large handguns, knives, unarmed weapons. However, players should be cautious when giving him a 10mm SMG, as his AI might cause friendly fire incidents due to the bursting firing mode of the gun, unleashing all hell around him and you standing in the way of that hell. But despite this, Ian is a valuable companion in combat, significantly increasing the player's ability to handle threats in the wasteland. Ian has unique dialogue for various locations in the wasteland, especially about places like Junktown and the hub. He also becomes hostile if the people in Shady Sands are attacked without his company, showing his loyalty to that settlement. So what happens to Ian after the events of Fallout? Now, the only thing we have is from the Bible, and remember what I said about that, just take it with a grain of salt. While traveling with the Vault Dweller, they reach an acropolis and engage in a battle with the super mutants at the watershed. During the fight, Ian is killed when a super mutant unleashes a flamer, burning him to death. The smell of Ian's burning body haunts the Vault Dweller for years to come, showcasing the emotional impact of his loss. Pretty tragic fate for such a beloved companion. But oh well, at least he won't shoot you in the back anymore.
I've seen a rat with 3 eyes once. That's about all I know about mutants.
Katya or Katya? I'm not sure. Google says that the Russian way to pronounce it is Katya, so that's what we're going to stick with. Anyway, Katya is interesting because she's a thief and a scavenger living in the Boneyard. She was born and raised in Aditum, a slave labor camp by the way, and she spent a lot of her life as a scav trawling the derelict Los Angeles for anything of use. Because her job was so dangerous and the fact that she hated being caged in like an animal, she decided to leave and make her way to the Boneyard. There, she became a successful thief and stayed fairly safe as she could. Most of the area she prowled was filled with just humans and fairly few mutants. Katya can be found residing with the followers of the Apocalypse in the Boneyard Library. Unlike Ian, no bottle caps need to be paid and no correct dialogue options need to be chosen. She'll just join the Vault Dweller's party if simply asked nicely to do so. Unless the Vault Dweller killed anyone in Shady Sands, then she'll refuse to join. Katya knows everything about the Boneyard. She's lived here and experienced the worst and even the more worse. She hates the warring factions, the clans, the criminals, the cults, and even the greedy merchants residing in the hub. As far as she's concerned, 9 out of 10 people in the Boneyards fall into 3 categories: rapists, murderers, and/or thieves. She can tell the thieves apart from the others on account of being one and developed a keen survival instinct to keep the other 2 categories at bay. She has an array of skills like knife fighting, submachine guns, and throwing sharp objects. Katya is like most in the wasteland. She doesn't trust people and she really doesn't believe that humanity can bounce back from its past transgressions. She will give her perspective on several of the factions within Fallout 1. She believes her hometown is paranoid, the Boneyard is torn by violence and greed, the cathedral is obsessed with a dark god and our cultists, and the only supposed positive force being the followers of the Apocalypse are just not good enough at survival in her opinion. And all the friends and family she ever had are swallowed by the wasteland. and even one of her most recent friends died of an overdose from Psycho. We don't really have knowledge of what happens to Katya. We do have to just assume she's long gone, considering the current Fallout present is taking place about 120 years later, give or take. But it sounds like she was really conflicted companion at heart, and that her placing faith in anyone was extremely difficult, except for the Vault Dweller. One last thing, she isn't a dog person. She will note that she hates dogs if dog meat is in the party. Do with that info as you will.
The war was a testament to human greed and insanity. Let's hope that we have learned enough to never repeat such folly.
The last companion in Fallout 1. I know these companions aren't as flashy as their future counterparts, but I still believe that their lore and backgrounds are incredibly interesting, laying the foundations for the future companions and the people. Tycho is a desert ranger. Yeah, like the rangers you're thinking of. To recruit Tycho, you have to head to Junktown's Scum Pit. He's then found at a bar where you can mention a quest that he would like to join in on, which he will if you haven't completed it yet. And then you can have a drink with him. But if you already completed the quest, which is killing a man named Killian, Tycho won't join you. Tycho wears the classic leather armor with a trench coat and a gas mask. He was born in a survivalist community in what was once Nevada. Tycho is the grandson of a Texas Ranger and heir to at least 2 generations of training, knowledge, and weapons. His family rode out of the war in the safety of this community in the Nevada Badlands, learning everything about survival in his youth, from identifying safe water sources to a laundry list of little things to look out for, and growing up hearing stories about the wasteland, such as his father's experience with a fat freak in Las Vegas. Eventually, he became a full member of the Desert Rangers, using his survival and combat skills to go out in the world and make life just a little easier for mankind, like Texas Rangers of old. Tycho developed a taste for travels, first close to home, then steadily expanding his horizons as he gained experience. Eventually, he reached the Gulf of Mexico in former Texas, becoming a long-range explorer for the Rangers. By the time the Vault Dweller runs into him, he's taken a break from exploring in order to take it easy at Junktown for a while. With so much knowledge, Tycho knows all about the sort of myths and forbidden knowledge in the wasteland. He knows about the vaults, pre-war military bases, the force fields, and even the nuclear strikes. He also has a ton of information about wasteland wildlife and the monsters roaming the land. Tycho has been in countless battles and has scraped by in many of them. He tells you that he's missing teeth, parts of his ears, rib fractures, and all kinds of unimaginable injuries. Because he's so weathered and scarred, he's gained a sort of grim resolve and outlook on life, explaining that his enemies should aim for the head. Wait a second. Tycho has a good moral compass, and he's fairly firm in his beliefs. He believes that Killian should be in charge of Junktown and believes that he can bring order to the lawless pit. He'd do it himself, but he's getting tired of either making things worse or not letting the right things just happen. Self-reliance is his game, and he hopes that the Great War was the pinnacle of human greed and selfishness, believing in the future of humanity. Tycho is later mentioned in Fallout 2, but that's the last we hear of his tale. A badass that roamed the waste, taking down raiders and mutants and saving people from themselves. I hope he went out just like he imagined.
You've had some experiences in the wasteland. You know how to deal with a raider or two while traveling with various caravans. It seems routine at this point, and even if you get into a fight with some muties, you're sure you have the firepower to deal with them. But tonight, something else stalks the campfire, honing in on your scent and creeping through the brush. The Deathclaw. What? You thought the Deathclaw would be further down the list. Well then, you haven't seen anything the Capital Wasteland has to offer yet. But don't get it twisted, the Deathclaw is nothing to be trifled with. In the Capital Wasteland of Fallout 3, Deathclaws stand out as some of the most formidable and terrifying creatures. These mutants, bearing a resemblance to Jackson's chameleons, are large, agile, and incredibly strong. Despite the harsh and desolate nature of the wasteland, Deathclaws are surprisingly common in this region compared to the West Coast. Deathclaws are spread throughout the Capital Wasteland, often establishing nests where they protect their eggs. One notable event involved a squad of Brotherhood outcasts who were attacked by Deathclaws, resulting in the death of all but one soldier. This survivor, known as Branch Tender Linden, later joined the Tree Minders. Additionally, the Enclave conducted experiments on Deathclaws, attempting to control them throughout cybernetic means to create obedient soldiers. These creatures possess a hunched humanoid build with reptilian features, granting them exceptional speed and strength in close combat. They lay their eggs in dark, sheltered locations, fiercely guarding them until their offspring are mature enough to survive on their own. Young Deathclaws stay close to their parents until they reach maturity. In terms of gameplay, Deathclaws are some of the fastest and most powerful adversaries. While they're not as widespread across the Capital Wasteland as other creatures, their presence significantly impacts the player's exploration and travel decisions due to their formidable nature. Moving on to a creature that might come as a surprise to some, but to others, well, they already know the stakes. Now, we aren't talking about the garden variety of ghouls here. Even though they have made the metro tunnels a horrifying experience, they are mostly cannon fodder to the more experienced Wastelanders. And no, we aren't talking about the glowing ones either. Feral Ghoul Reavers are a type of ghoul that appear in the Fallout 3 add-on, Broken Steel. They are significantly stronger than other ghouls and are clad in what appears to be metal armor made from various scraps. Their skin has a distinctive appearance, often bubbling and emitting radiation and dark green smoke. These creatures are among the toughest enemies in the game, boasting more than twice the durability of a Sentry Bot or Deathclaw. They are also very agile, capable of quickly closing the distance to their target and delivering powerful melee attacks. One of their signature abilities is the ability to throw pieces of their own irradiated flesh at their enemies. These projectiles explode on impact, causing significant damage and potentially crippling limbs. What sets Feral Ghoul Reavers apart is their high level of perception. They can detect enemies even when they are using stealth technology, such as a stealth boy or Chinese stealth armor. Additionally, they exhibit a unique behavior when in water, appearing to walk along the bottom rather than swim, which just feels very creepy to think about. Ultimately, Feral Ghoul Reavers are extremely dangerous opponents in Fallout 3, combining durability, agility, and unique abilities that make them a formidable threat to even the most experienced Wastelanders. You probably already know where we are going with this. A mutant so large and formidable, they can make the literal ground shake beneath their weight. Behemoths, you might even call them. In Fallout 3, the super mutant behemoths are towering, fearsome creatures standing at about 20 feet tall, making them the most significant threat among the super mutants, at least lore-wise. Gameplay is a little different. Despite their immense size and power, there are only 5 behemoths in the Capital Wasteland, though reports of sightings continue among the Brotherhood of Steel. These super mutants are the oldest and largest of their kind, having lost the ability for intelligent speech and now only communicating through monstrous roars. They typically wield an oversized fire hydrant as a weapon, using its once buried pipe as a handle. In the absence of a weapon, they rely on their immensely strong fists, which are capable of delivering devastating blows. Behemoths wear makeshift armor crafted from scrap metal and car parts, often adorned with cages made from shopping carts on their backs. These cages are used to hold captured humans whom they either consume or subject to a process called dipping. Additionally, they use car doors as shields, and the heads of their victims can be seen hanging from their bodies as gruesome decorations. The behemoth at Evergreen Mills has a unique appearance without armor, fighting solely with its bare fists. For players, defeating all 5 behemoths in the game unlocks the achievement or trophy, the bigger they are. No Wastelander in their right mind would ever want to come face to face with a behemoth. Let's say, for example, a Wastelander has a choice to pick between 2 paths. The path of the left has a massive hulking behemoth blocking the way. The one on the right, a smaller but more hunched over super mutant. A little darker green than the rest, but that's no problem, right? That leads us straight into our next mutant. Maybe not as scary looking as a Deathclaw or a behemoth, but make no mistake, they are far deadlier. In the Fallout 3 add-on, Broken Steel, the super mutant overlords are a variant of super mutants that are even more powerful than super mutant masters. They are depicted as aged and are notably harder to defeat. Interestingly, they appear to be undergoing a transformation, evolving towards the size and strength of behemoths. You would then think to yourself that they should surely be weaker than a behemoth, right? Well, despite their apparent lack of speech, super mutant overlords demonstrate intelligence by wielding energy weapons. While they are sometimes seen leading groups of other super mutants, they are more commonly encountered in pairs or even alone. In combat, super mutant overlords pose a significant threat. They receive a substantial damage bonus of plus 40 when using a tri-beam laser rifle, which can penetrate armor effectively. Additionally, when they attack with their unique version of the super sledge, they receive a plus 25 damage bonus. Interestingly, when equipped with an assault rifle or a Chinese assault rifle, they use a one-handed pistol animation. So now imagine a mutant that's far smarter than a behemoth, but gifted half or more of its strength and durability. Even more, they wield big guns that will shoot any wastelander dead. Fast. The cherry on top? They're usually in pairs. But if you manage to survive, well then you might get something interesting. Defeating super mutant overlords can yield valuable loot, including stim packs, mini nukes, and purified water, making them lucrative targets for players seeking resources. Last on the list today is a creature that probably many of you haven't encountered or knew was even in the game to begin with. For most, it's an incredibly rare sight to run into and definitely one you don't want to. For others, I've seen they can't get away from. Living walking tanks that want to chop you into little pieces and then eat you. Albino rad scorpions. Rat scorpions in the Fallout universe are mutated from the North American emperor scorpion, which were commonly found in pet stores before the Great War. Contrary to expectations, their venom became more potent and deadly after the mutation, rather than diluted. While they are typically considered nocturnal and sensitive to light, rat scorpions can be active during the daytime in the areas they inhabit. Visually, they appear very similar to regular scorpions, with thick, mottled, dark, bluish-gray carapaces. Their poison glands are used in crafting the dart gun. According to Enclave Field research, rad scorpions are believed to be mutated emperor scorpions, although further study is needed for a precise identification. The research indicates that the rad scorpion stinger and venom glands have enlarged. The neurotoxins they administer now affect the potassium and calcium channels of their victims. While the rat scorpion is considered a minor threat when encountered individually, it can become problematic in larger numbers. Although rumors suggest the existence of larger rad scorpions, the researcher dismisses these as exaggerations. Except it's indeed no exaggeration. Albino rad scorpions in the Fallout universe are a variation of the giant rad scorpion. Visually, they differ from their counterparts by being pale white with pink joints and eyes, rather than having a dark bluish-gray appearance. Despite their similar size to giant rad scorpions, albino rad scorpions are much more formidable. They can both deal and withstand a significant amount of damage, are highly maneuverable, and possess stingers that contain an extremely potent venom. In terms of resilience, albino rad scorpions are exceptionally tough, boasting significantly more hit points than most other creatures or non-player characters in the game. Their durability is surpassed only by super mutant behemoths. But they have a unique trait. These creatures have an ability to slowly regenerate health when exposed to direct sunlight, similar to the effect of the solar-powered perk. Like regular rad scorpions, albino rad scorpions have no specific weak points, but their legs can be targeted to reduce their mobility. They can be found near areas where giant rad scorpions spawn and may appear in pairs or after fast traveling. Interestingly, well-prepared and high-level players may encounter more albino rad scorpions than regular rad scorpions due to their distribution. Overall, albino rad scorpions are regarded as one of the toughest adversaries in the wasteland because of their potent poison, speed, durability, and overall ruthlessness.
"300 Pieces of Silver" is an unmarked quest that becomes available if your character cannot afford to pay Moriarty 100 caps for information about their father. In this case, Moriarty will task you with retrieving money from a woman named Silver. Silver can be found in a small ranch located northwest of Megaton in Springvale. The ranch house serves as her residence. You must confront Silver and retrieve the money she owes to Moriarty, which amounts to about 300 caps. Silver can be persuaded to give up the money peacefully, or you can resort to violence to obtain it. Completing this quest can result in either positive or negative karma, depending on your actions. Additionally, there is an optional reward of up to 400 caps for completing the quest. Furthermore, the quest provides valuable information about your character's father, which could be crucial to the main quest line. A Nice Day for a Right Wedding is an unmarked quest involving Angela and Diego in Rivet City. Angela is in love with Diego, but he is an acolyte and cannot return her affection. Angela asks your character to obtain Ant Queen pheromones so she can seduce Diego. You can also choose to lie to the priest, Father Clifford, or influence Diego to abandon Angela and stay with the church. After providing Angela with the pheromones or convincing Diego to leave the church, you can speak to Angela, Diego, Vera Weatherly, or Gary Staley after a few days to learn about the upcoming wedding. The wedding takes place in the church at 3 p.m. Witnessing the wedding grants positive karma, and Angela and Diego will proceed to their own room in Rivet City after the ceremony. To, well, you know. Bitter Cup Runneth Over is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves the character Bitter Cup in Big Town. To start the quest, you must find Bitter Cup in the Big Town Common House. Bitter Cup is a death-obsessed young woman who will ask your character if they're seeing anyone. Regardless of your response, she will express interest in starting a relationship with you. If you tell her that you're not currently in a relationship, she will become your girlfriend. By returning to her once every 24 hours or using the wait function, you will receive a gift from her each time. The gifts can include various items such as Radix, Stimpaks, Nuka-Cola, and more. This cycle of receiving gifts can continue for approximately 30 cycles before Bittercup reverts to her pre-quest dialogue and stops giving gifts. It's worth noting that Bittercup will refer to your character as her crush regardless of your gender. Bully the Bully is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves Princess in Little Lamplight. If you ask Princess about her nickname, she'll refuse to explain. However, if you have freed Sammy from Paradise Falls, you can then talk to him about Princess. By passing a speech check, Sammy reveals that Princess once declared herself the mayor of Little Lamplight, calling herself the Princess. Her reign only lasted about 5 minutes until MacCready punched her in the face and took over. Since then, Princess has had a secret crush on MacCready. Armed with this information, you can choose to torment Princess by revealing what Sammy said. Doing so may result in negative karma, depending on a charisma check. Church Donations is a repeatable and unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves donating to the churches in Megaton and Rivet City. Both St. Monica's Church in Rivet City and the Church of the Children of Adam in Megaton accept donations in the form of currency. In exchange for your donation, you will receive an equal amount of good karma. To donate, speak to Confessor Cromwell in Megaton or Father Clifford in Rivet City. This quest could be repeated multiple times, allowing players to donate to the churches and receive good karma in return. Collecting holotags is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 that involves gathering Brotherhood of Steel holotags and returning them to Scribe Jameson in the Citadel. After completing the main storyline quest, The Waters of Life, you gain access to the Citadel, the Brotherhood of Steel's main headquarters. Inside the library in the A-Ring area, they can find Scribe Jameson, who is responsible for recording the actions of the Brotherhood. She then asks you to bring her any Brotherhood of Steel holotags that you may find on your journeys. Brotherhood of Steel holotags can be found on the corpses of fallen Brotherhood members. If you keep these holotags and bring them to Scribe Jameson, she will thank you and then reward you with 100 caps and 25 XP for each holotag. Additionally, she may offer something more interesting related to the Brotherhood's technological research. This quest can be repeated as often as you wish as Brotherhood soldiers respawn, providing an infinite source of holotags. However, after starting the quest Take It Back and releasing Liberty Prime, it is not possible to engage in regular conversation with Jameson or most other Brotherhood members in the Citadel without the Broken Steel add-on. Council C is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that takes place in Rivet City and involves Bannon and Seagrave Holmes. The quest can be initiated by speaking with Bannon at Potomac Attire. He believes that Seagrave Holmes is planning to steal his seat on the city council and asks your character to find incriminating evidence against Seagrave. Alternatively, the quest can be started by finding the evidence in Seagrave's room and then speaking to Bannon. You can enter Seagrave's room in the midship deck to find an incriminating letter next to the footlocker under the bed. The letter reveals that Seagraves is actually communicating with the slaver boss Eulogy Jones. Once the evidence is obtained, you can talk to both Bannon and Seagrave Holmes. Seagrave argues that the letter shows he's not cooperating with the slavers and asks you to inform Lana Danvers that Bannon is trying to blackmail him. Bannon, on the other hand, tells you to report the evidence to Lana Danvers without revealing that he sent them to find it. Choosing which side to support is a tactical decision, as Bannon rewards you with a Deathclaw Gauntlet schematic and discounts on apparel, while Holmes offers no immediate reward, but has more items available for purchase with discount. Economics and Violence is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves helping Pronto in Paradise Falls improve his shop's inventory. Pronto, a trader in Paradise Falls, is unhappy with the quality of the items he receives from other slavers and asks for help in obtaining 20 Chinese assault rifles to improve his inventory. These rifles can be found on Super Mutant Masters, Chinese Remnant Soldiers, Talon Company Mercs, and various other locations. Once you've collected the rifles, return to Pronto to complete the quest. His shop's inventory will improve and he will have around 400 caps for bartering instead of the usual 150. Additionally, his shop will offer a 20% discount on all items. Election Day is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that takes place in the Republic of Dave. Dave, the self-proclaimed president of the Republic of Dave, is running for re-election and asks for your help in securing votes from other adults in the Republic. Talk to Dave to start the quest. He'll ask you to speak with the other adults to secure their votes for him. Speak with Jessica, Shauna, Rosie, and Bob. Persuade them to vote for Dave in the election. Optionally, you can convince Rosie or Bob to run against Dave by persuading them and then stealing the other ballots to ensure their victory. Return to Dave and inform him that all the votes are in. He will proceed to count the votes. If another candidate wins, you'll receive the loot from Dave's safe, including Old Painless, by using the access code provided by the winner. Completing this quest can lead to various outcomes depending on how you manipulate the election. Fungus Dill is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 that takes place in Little Lamplight. Lucy or Eclair in Little Lamplight will ask for your help in obtaining items they need. Lucy needs buff out to treat rickets, a condition caused by malnutrition due to the lack of sunlight. Eclair the cook needs strange meat, which is actually human flesh, to feed the fungus that grows in the cavern's pools, a vital food source for the children. Talk to Lucy or Eclair to start the quest. Then speak with Mayor McCready to get his approval for the trade deal. You'll need a barter skill of 50 or the Child at Heart perk to convince him. Obtain buff out or strange meat. Buff out can be found or purchased, while strange meat can be obtained from various sources. Then return to Lucy or Eclair and trade the items for cave fungus. With the Child at Heart perk, you can get a 1-for-1 deal, otherwise you'll need to trade 3 items for 1 fungus. After this, Eclair reveals that the fungus in the cavern's pool thrives on meat, especially strange meat, which was discovered by the first children of Little Lamplight when they threw the bodies of dead adults into the pools. It is possible to renegotiate the terms of the deal with McCready by returning with a higher barter skill. Completing this quest helps the inhabitants of Little Lamplight by providing them with essential items and resources. Gallows Humor is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves your character learning the real name of Knight Captain Gallows from the Lion's Pride in the Citadel. Members of the Lion's Pride in the Citadel are participating in a betting pool to guess Knight Captain Gallows' real name. Your character can join in by learning and revealing Gallows' real name. Talk to the members of Lion's Pride in the Great Hall in the Citadel. They'll mention a betting pool to guess Gallows' real name. Approach Knight Captain Gallows and ask him about the betting pool. He'll be reluctant to share his real name. You'll need to use a really high speech skill to convince Gallows to reveal his real name. Even with high speech and charisma, the success chance is not guaranteed. Once Gallows reveals his name, then you can inform Paladin Glade about it. Geomapping with Riley is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 where your character can earn bottle caps by uncovering map markers in the Capital Wasteland. After completing the Riley's Rangers quest, you can agree to help Riley with her mapping service. She then provides you with a Geomapper module. Carrying this module and returning to the Ranger compound allows you to receive 30 caps for each new location that you discover, up to a maximum of 4,890 caps. It's important to note that the locations revealed with the Explorer perk do not count for this quest unless they are personally visited. Additionally, certain locations such as DC Metro Maps or the Regulator's HQ require specific perks to be accessed or do not count for the quest. Also, if you're into role-playing a character, this gives them a perfect purpose for exploring the map and looting. Grady's Package is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that can be completed alongside the quest of those. The quest begins with finding the corpse of Grady inside Marigold Station or by finding Grady's safe key in the maintenance room. You can also pick the lock on the safe to start the quest. After finding Grady's corpse or the safe key, you must follow the instructions on Grady's holotape to locate the package. The package is located in a safe in Marigold Station, which can be accessed by navigating through the tunnels and opening an easy locked door. Inside the safe, you'll find the Naughty Nightwear. Upon acquiring the Naughty Nightwear, Lugnut will approach you and demand it, and it gets really weird. You can choose to give it to him, or you can kill him to keep it. If you give the Nightwear to Lugnut and then loot it off his corpse after killing him, it'll be fully repaired. Alternatively, you can return the Naughty Nightwear to Ronald Laren in Girder Shade for a reward of 200 caps or 300 caps if a speech check is passed. Happy Birthday to You, also known as a Sticky Situation, is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves escorting Sticky, a teenager who just turned 16, from Little Lamplight to Big Town. Once the player character is granted entry into Little Lamplight by Mayor McCready, they'll find Sticky wearing a red birthday hat and eager to go to Big Town, where he believes all the grown-ups go. Sticky will join the player's party, and they can equip him with weapons and armor for his journey. During the trip, Sticky will talk a lot, often making up stories using a Mad Lib template. You can choose to tolerate his stories, tell him to be quiet, or even kill him, without losing karma. The quest is completed once the player and Sticky cross the bridge to Big Town. It's worth noting that if the player has completed the Big Trouble in Big Town quest before escorting Sticky, there might be a super mutant nearby, which could potentially attack Big Town's residents and Sticky. There are several nuances to this quest, such as the fact that Sticky will remain a companion until the player reaches Big Town, even if the player has already completed Big Trouble in Big Town. Additionally, if the player has taught the Big Town residents how to plant mines for protection before escorting Sticky, the mines will not recognize Sticky as friendly, potentially leading to his injury or death if not carefully managed. Overall, there's no tangible reward for completing the quest, but the player can obtain a party hat by talking about it. You also get to feel good. That was worth it, right? Right? Hired Help is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that probably most of you know about. It involves acquiring the employment contract of a ghoul named Sharon in the underworld. The quest is given by Azrakal, who holds Sharon's contract and is located in the 9th Circle in the underworld. To complete the quest, the player character can choose to either kill Greta, a worker at Carol's place in the underworld, or purchase Sharon's contract from Azrakal. If they choose to kill Greta, they must return to Azrakal after completing the task. If they choose to purchase the contract, they can do so by paying Azrakal either 2,000 caps or 1,000 caps with a barter skill of 50 or higher. Upon acquiring Sharon's contract, the player character can then inform Sharon, who will confront Azrakal and ultimately kill him. The player can then loot Azrakal's body for a key to a cooler full of caps and other loot, with no loss of karma or angering the residents of Underworld. However, attempting to pick the lock on the safe or hack the terminal in the room will cause the residents to become hostile. I Want to Drink Your Blood is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 that becomes available after completing the quest Blood Ties. The quest is given by Vance, the leader of the family of vampires residing in the Meresti metro station. Vance will pay the player character 15 caps for every blood pack that they bring him. This can be done by simply having blood packs in the player's inventory and talking to Vance after completing Blood Ties. The player can choose to sell the blood packs to Vance or donate them, receiving the same value in caps either way. It's worth noting that Carl, another resident in the Meresti metro station, may sometimes sell blood packs for less than 15 caps, providing an opportunity for the player to acquire them at a lower cost and then sell them to Vance for a profit. There are no experience points or karma bonuses granted for completing this quest. Jiggs' Loot is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves finding a series of secret codes hidden within access terminals around the Museum of Technology. These codes are part of a security test set up by the scavenger named Prime, who's left them as clues for another comrade expected to show up at the museum. The codes are all prime numbers, which are numbers divisible only by themselves, such as 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and etc. The player must successfully unlock all 3 terminals to obtain the password for the security office terminal, which unlocks a safe containing Jiggs' loot. The first terminal is located on the ground floor, directly across from the museum's entrance. The second terminal is in the museum's west wing, past the vault door. The third terminal is on the ground floor near the Delta 9 rocket. Entering the correct prime numbers into these terminals will grant access to the safe, which contains 200 caps, various valuables, and the gun locker key for the planetarium office's cabinet. Upon accessing the last terminal, the player receives a note from Prime instructing them to meet him at the diner near Jury Street Metro Station. However, upon arrival, Prime is found dead, but his body contains 500 more caps, explosives, ammunition, and the unique weapon, the Wanlong assault rifle. It's important to note that the terminals can only be accessed once, and making an error will void the quest and the chance to obtain the assault rifle. Additionally, the Computer Whiz perk does not allow for another attempt, and the locked terminal in the security overlook does not actually provide the password, but rather triggers the note about meeting Prime at the diner. Just for the taste of it is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3. It involves obtaining the secret Nuka-Cola Clear formula from the R&D department of the Nuka-Cola plant and delivering it to Goli Ledoux, who is waiting at the Red Racer factory. The quest begins when the player finds the body of Winger Mercier on the second floor of the Nuka-Cola plant's office section. On his corpse is the note, "Finding the formula," which instructs Mercier to find the formula and meet at the Red Rocket Tricycle factory. The Nuka-Cola Clear formula is inside a locked safe in the R&D department. To obtain the key to the safe, the player must find the Mr. Handy robot named Milo on the lower level of the factory floor. They can convince Milo to give them the key through a speech challenge, or if they have the robotics expert perk, Milo will then give it to them automatically. Alternatively, you can find a note by the computer in the office next to the R&D that contains ID data, allowing them to pass the ID check. If all else fails, the player can simply destroy the robot to acquire the key. Once the formula is obtained, you must deliver it to Gully Ledoux and his gang at the Red Racer factory. Ledoux offers 250 caps for the formula, but the player can try to convince him to give them 400 by passing a speech challenge. After selling the formula to Ledoux, the player can kill him to retrieve it, although there is no incentive apart from the recipe being worth 150 caps. However, killing Ledoux will grant the player his hockey mask, which grants plus 25 action points, and he will have a finger on him if the player has the Lawbringer perk. It's important to note that the gang spawns in front of the Red Racer factory only if the player character has obtained the Nuka-Cola Clear formula from the Nuka-Cola plant before or during the Nuka-Cola Challenge quest. How many times can a freaking Nuka-Cola chuck? If they complete the Nuka-Cola Challenge quest before ever picking up the formula, Gully Ledoux and his gang will not spawn, and the player can never complete this unmarked quest. The Keller Family Refuge is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves collecting 5 holotapes located around the Capital Wasteland to gain entry into the National Guard Depot Armory Bunker. The quest begins by finding one of the Keller holotapes, which are scattered in various locations. To gain entry into the National Guard Armory Bunker, you need to collect 4 out of the 5 transcripts. The tape that is not needed is Tape 1, found in the Pylon Shack. Here are the locations of all the holotapes. Tape 1, the Pylon Shack, found on the bottom shelf of the bookcase, which again is not needed to enter the bunker. Tape 2 is found in the Hollowed Moor Cemetery inside the church on the left on top of a lectern. Tape 3 is found in the Grizzly Diner, located on a desk at the back outside of the diner. Tape 4 is found at the Sniper Shack, inside the shack on the workbench on the left. And Tape 5 is found at Anchorage Memorial, inside a tent on the table, across the river north-northwest of the memorial. Upon entering the bunker, you will find Mr. Keller as a glowing one, the sole remaining member of the Keller family. Inside the bunker, you can find the experimental MIRV, 5 mini nukes, and other valuable loot.
Fallout 2 is a little tricky when it comes to the companions. The game has a plethora of NPCs of men, women, dogs, and monsters ready to sign up for the line of duty in the Chosen One's army. Some of them, though, basically have no background or interesting tidbits to dive into, so we'll bang some of those out pretty quick. John is an old man, surrounded by the thick walls of Vault City, the place he calls home now, and where he decided to settle down when he learned that his heart was failing. John has been through the absolute ringer, a veteran of the worst places the Wasteland has to offer, and he has the scars to prove it. A knifing, multiple gunshot wounds that occurred in 2195, 2199, and 2201. Don't forget, he also has a metal plate in his skull and a fake eye. The fact that this guy is still alive is incredible. Not many get to see old age in the Wasteland. John Cassidy is a pleasant but prejudiced man to talk to, provided the person doing the talking does not get on his bad side or happen to be in the wrong race, as he despises ghouls for existing and generally dislikes people he perceives as despicable. He can be direct at times, and he has further issues with tribal prejudice, but overall, he's a great companion. Like I said earlier, John learned that his heart was failing and he requires regular heart booster shots to keep going. That's why he's stuck in Vault City. He runs the bar, the Spittoon, in the courtyard, paying a hefty fee for a license to sell real alcohol on the premise. He manages to get by well enough, able to pay for his rent, license fee, and afford booster shots from Doc Andrew. His business did take a hit recently as Sergeant Stark led a raid on his bar, confiscating all his alcohol and detaining several customers. Already disgusted with this city, it is practically the final straw for him. He declares that he's skilled with shotguns and rifles mostly, as well as pistols. He can also use brass knuckles and spears. He claims that he used to hunt with a spear, but expresses shame about making him seem like a tribal. At this point, the Chosen One can state that they are a tribal, after which Cassidy will sincerely apologize and claim that spears are fine weapons used by many of his tribal friends. A few fun notes on Cassidy. 1. If the Chosen One decided to give him any sort of chems or drugs, John will instantly die of a heart attack. So be nice. He's also one of the few companions that doesn't have a talking head, which basically means he doesn't have that zoomed in face during conversation. And you can't recruit him if you have low karma or intelligence, so don't be dumb and or a criminal, or both. He also references Final Fantasy in one of his dialogue lines by saying, "I wish I had a limit break." So what happens to John after the events of Fallout 2? Well, Cassidy joined the Chosen One in his journey, leaving Vault City behind. The two eventually parted ways, with Cassidy settling down again with a tribal woman despite his reservations about the tribals. At his ripe old age, John became a father of a daughter who took after their father. A few years later, he left the two and journeyed east of California, never heard from again. He went on to search for Texas, breaking south through NCR and past Dayglow. One last thing about John. His daughter that I spoke of is actually on this list, and if you're astute, you probably already sussed her out. Of course, it's Fallout New Vegas' very own Rose of Sharon Cassidy. We'll get to her a little later, and maybe find out a little more about John. Davin is an interesting one. A handsome young man in his 20s, Grisham, the owner of the slaughterhouse and MODOK's only son, looks very much like his father. He's currently preparing himself to inherit the business once his father kicks off in his own terms. Until then, he's the slaughterhouse's supervisor, well known to all the others. He gets on well with his father, but is aware that Grisham likes to hit two birds with one stone and advises anyone getting into the business with him to look out for any unforeseen elements of his deals. He is no layabout either. Grisham taught him how to skin Brahmin and had him prepare leather, making him skilled with a knife, and on occasion he even put down one with a crowbar for his dad. He doesn't like firearms. The one time his dad tried to teach him to shoot straight, he got scared and almost shot his dad down. Davin is rumored around town to engage in relations with the Brahmin. Davin admits to going to the barn at night, but only to make sure it's locked up. What with all the wild animals coming around. Now, the real interesting thing about Davin, besides the Brahmin Eiffel Tower stuff, is that Davin can also engage the Chosen One in relations as well, regardless of gender. Though the line he says when you're a male is pretty funny. He'll offer the Chosen One to be his caboose. Take that as you will. Now, if this does occur, an event will take place. Grisham will enter the room and realize what's going on. Unless the player decides to play the situation off as a medical examination, which Grisham appears to be ready to believe without a speech check, the only other option is a shotgun wedding. If you try to run away, the whole town of MODOK will try to murder you. Now, if this isn't part of your plans, you can choose to divorce Davin in 3 different ways. 1, he accidentally and unfortunately can die. 2, he can be sold into slavery. Who would do that though? And lastly, you can have Father Tully in New Reno just peacefully divorce you. Other than that, that's all she wrote about Davin. We have no information on what happened to him. Only the Chosen One knows. But I would take a guess and say you won't find him very far from the Brahmin.
Hey girl, what's up?
He's back. Dogmeat returns as a companion in Fallout 2. He can be found in the Cafe of Broken Dreams, an Easter egg special encounter in which the player finds a diner in the desert where wastelanders congregate from across time and space. Dogmeat will travel with the Chosen One if they interact with him while wearing their ancestral Vault 13 jumpsuit. Also, if you recall, Dogmeat should be dead at this point, according to the Bible. Also, the people in the cafe where you find him in Fallout 2 reference Fallout 1 directly, breaking the fourth wall. So it's really hard to say if Dogmeat is even canon in this game or not. I mean, he's here. He can travel with you through the entire game, but maybe it's just a dream. Who knows? I guess it's up to you guys to decide. Gorus is not your ordinary Deathclaw. In Fallout 2, this intelligent and inquisitive dark gray Deathclaw resides in Vault 13, disguised in a long-sleeved hooded robe to blend in with humans. Why the disguise? Well, as Gorus puts it, humans have a habit of shooting Deathclaws on sight. Despite his imposing appearance, Gorus is a scholar at heart, eager to learn about the world beyond the Vault and understand human culture. When the player character encounters Gorus, he expresses a desire to venture out into the wasteland again for his research. However, he doesn't like to travel alone and offers to join the player as a companion. He believes that by working with humans, Deathclaws can be seen as friends rather than enemies. One of Gorus's unique traits is his albinism, which gives him his dark gray hide and his red eyes, which does differentiate him from all the other Deathclaws. His sensitive hide requires him to wear his robe at all times, only removing it during combat. Gorus also possesses a telepathic sense, connecting him to his brothers, which becomes evident when the Enclave attacks Vault 13. If he accompanies the player, he feels his brothers are in danger and rushes back to help them. In terms of gameplay, Gorus is a permanent companion with exceptional strength and unarmed combat skills. However, his reliance on claws limits his weapon choices. Despite this, his combat prowess and intellect make him a valuable ally. So what happens to Gorus? Well, according to the main quest of Fallout Shelter Online, a wise Deathclaw was found to be living in the glowing sea on the opposite coast decades later. A new mother, Cura, travels to the Commonwealth in disguise with her egg in tow. She mentions being inspired by a distant relative that used to hide his identity so that he could travel with humans. I don't know if Fallout Shelter is even canon. I didn't even know existed before this video, so do with that info as you will. So if you're looking for a companion with brains, brawn, and a killer sense of style, literally, Gorus might just be the Deathclaw for you. And he's the only Deathclaw companion in all the canonical games. Meet Canine. Unlike your average cyber dog, Canine is not just a metal mutt. He's fully sentient and he can chat you up in multiple languages. But don't let his fancy vocabulary fool you. He's got a bone to pick with his creator, Dr. Schreber. This cyber dog developed his own moral compass, which didn't align with Schreber's twisted experiments. The relationship went from fetch to fight when Canine took a chunk out of Schreber, earning himself a punishment that left him standing like a statue, forced to watch the doctor's mad science unfold. He can be found in Dr. Schreber's office at the Navarro facility. He's non-operational when first found, and he does require some physical repairs. To obtain Canine, 2 requirements must be met. The first is Canine's leg mechanisms must be repaired with the drive mechanism, and last, Dr. Schreber must die. In your adventures, Canine can be a loyal companion, provided you got the skills to patch him up and the karma to keep him around. Just watch out for his sense of humor. He's known to crack a sarcastic remark or two. And if you're planning any sneaky business at the Sierra Army Depot, make sure your stories match up or you might find yourself in the doghouse with Canine. With his superior stats and sharp wit, Canine is one cyber dog you'll want on your side. So what happened to him later on? Well, after some repairs and relocation to NCR, things didn't get easier for Canine. Dr. Henry worried about Canine's loose lips, or circuits, and tried to put him down for good. Canine has information on the Enclave, but the cyberdog wasn't ready to roll over and play dead. With the help of Dorothy, he stood his ground against the NCR's prying eyes. Although unfortunately, it seems like their curiosity got the best of them in the end. Reports do suggest that Canine and his fellow cyberdog were dismantled and analyzed, with the process proving fatal for both. Unfortunately, he was just a good boy who knew too much. Lenny stands out as a particularly intriguing character. Once a respected medical doctor in Bakersfield, his life took a drastic turn when the Great War swept across the world, transforming him into a ghoul. Seeking refuge in Vault 12 with his father, William, Lenny's fate became intertwined with the tragic events that unfolded within that vault. The malfunctions of the vault systems turned all its inhabitants into ghouls, including Lenny and his father. Emerging from the vault as a ghoul, Lenny faced a new reality in the wasteland. His medical skills became a lifeline for him as he navigated the dangers of the post-apocalyptic world. Despite the challenges he faced, Lenny managed to survive and even thrive using this knowledge to assist others in Necropolis while avoiding the violent clashes that plagued the region. One pivotal moment in Lenny's life came when he encountered the Vault Dweller, a figure who would go on to become a legendary hero in the Wasteland. Lenny recognized the potential of the Vault Dweller's quest to stop the Master's plan, but a lack of courage prevented him from joining the cause. This decision haunted Lenny, especially when he learned the Vault Dweller's heroic actions that led to the destruction of the Master's laboratories and the Unity. This is obviously in reference to Fallout 1, as Lenny was in the mutant city and must have experienced the events. Following the devastation of Necropolis, Lenny embarked on a journey northward, eventually finding his way to Gecko. There he settled into the role as a doctor and assistant to Harold, contributing to the management of the town and offering his medical expertise to those in need. However, his life took an unexpected turn when the Chosen One arrived in Gecko, offering Lenny a chance at redemption and a new adventure. He'll also ask the Chosen One to help him find his father's grave and dig it up. If you do so, it turns out his father is actually still alive and well, seeing as he's an immortal ghoul. Interesting stuff. As a potential companion to the Chosen One, Lenny brings a wealth of experience and skills to the table. His background as a doctor makes him invaluable in providing medical aid to the party, and his proficiency with pistols, SMGs adds a lot of firepower to any counter. However, his presence may have consequences, as some characters may refuse to do business with the Chosen One if Lenny's in their party. Despite the hardships he's faced, Lenny remains a resilient and determined individual, seeking purpose and meaning in a world ravaged by chaos. His story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. Marcus is a figure of great significance. As a first-generation super mutant, he boasts a burly physique and a wearied countenance that belies his long history and fundamental belief in the inherent goodness of people. Unlike some of his less fortunate brethren, Marcus does not regret his transformation into a super mutant. In fact, he sees it as a liberation from the flaws that plague regular humans. Marcus was a staunch supporter of the Master's vision during his time in the Unity, believing it offered a chance to elevate humanity above its destructive tendencies. However, the destruction of the Unity by the Vault Dweller left him with a mix of emotions. While he initially harbored resentment towards the Vault Dweller, he eventually developed a deep respect for them, recognizing their commitment to their beliefs. Despite this, he still mourned the loss of his friends and the potential of the Master's plan. Following the fall of the Unity, Marcus traveled to the Wasteland until he founded the settlement of Broken Hills with the help of a Brotherhood knight named Jacob. The settlement thrived under Marcus's leadership, but he grew disillusioned with the humanity's flaws and the challenges they presented to his ideals. This disillusionment only grew as rumors of an anti-mutant conspiracy surfaced, leading him to seek aid of the Chosen One in investigating and ultimately saving the town from closure. Marcus will only join the Chosen One if they've performed several tasks for Broken Hill, like fixing an air purifier, finding the missing people, or snitching on conspirators trying to destroy the town. You also need to have positive karma. As a companion, Marcus brings his considerable strength and experience to the table. Skilled with big guns and large energy weapons, he's a formidable ally in combat. However, his use of burst weapons can be as dangerous to his allies as to his enemies, and his inability to wear armor leaves him somewhat vulnerable. Nonetheless, Marcus remains a steadfast and resilient figure, dedicating to creating a better future for himself and his fellow mutants. After the events of Fallout 2, Marcus continued his journey, eventually settling in the Black Mountain with a group of super mutants. However, this new home was not the safe haven he had hoped for. Conflict with the Nightkin, particularly the unstable Tabitha, led to a breakdown in leadership. Marcus ultimately chose to leave Black Mountain and establish a new settlement at Mount Charleston, which he named Jacobstown in honor of his friend. There he hoped he'd create a place where mutants and humans could live in peace and cooperation. In Fallout New Vegas, Marcus serves as the mayor of Jacobstown, continuing his quest for a peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans. His role in the Wasteland is a testament to his enduring spirit and his unwavering commitment to his ideals. Miria is a prominent character known for her striking looks and hypersexual behavior. Serving as the daughter of Grisham, the owner of a slaughterhouse in Modoc, and sister to Devin, of course. Like him, she's almost the gender counterpart. Despite her family ties, Miria finds the butcher trade dull and instead spends her time spreading gossip and engaging in sexual activities. Her beauty often leads people to overlook her other qualities, viewing her as mainly a sexual object. Miria is bisexual, with a high libido that results in her having numerous partners each month. She has a complex relationship with her family, including rumors suggesting she may have had encounters with her brother and uncle. Her interaction with others are often colored by her interesting nature, leading to various encounters and reactions from different characters throughout the game. In terms of gameplay, Miria can be romanced and married by the player character regardless of their gender. But similar to Devin, engaging in coitus with her results in negative consequences, like having her father once again pull out the old shoddy and the rings. Once married, she becomes a permanent companion, though she's not particularly skilled in combat and cannot be dismissed from the party unless divorced. Divorcing Miria requires specific actions, such as selling her into slavery or causing her death. Miria's character and interactions in the game highlight themes of sexuality, relationships, and societal attitudes towards these topics specifically. Her portrayal as a sexually active and independent woman, as well as her complex relationships with other characters, add depth to the game's narrative and provide players with a unique and memorable experience. Little PS on this character. There are themes and things she says and does that I cannot talk about here on this platform, so if you know of this, that's why. And if you're curious, you can check out our wiki. Myron is a teenage pharmacologist and a member of the Mordino crime family in New Reno. He is credited with creating a modified, cheaper version of the drug Jet, which has become widely used and addictive. Despite his young age, Myron is highly intelligent, but has a number of personality flaws, including arrogance, self-centeredness, and a strong sexual drive. Myron is portrayed as boastful and manipulative, with little regard for the well-being of others. He treats slaves and mutants with disdain and is known to be unpleasant towards prostitutes who service him. Despite his negative traits, Myron is also shown to be highly skilled in the field of chemistry, able to produce chems like antidotes, stimpaks, and super stimpaks if given the proper ingredients. In terms of gameplay, Myron can join the Chosen One as a companion, offering his skills in science and chemistry to the party. He can also assist in finding a cure for jet addiction if the player character's speech skill and intelligence are high enough. However, his arrogant and often abrasive personality can make him a challenging companion to work with. He won't join the party if it's full, and he'll also refuse if Marcus is in the party, calling him mutant trash. Overall, he reminds me of Sid from Toy Story, and he kinda just has that punchable face. Myron's story comes to such a tragic end when he's stabbed to death by a jet addict in a bar in the den. Despite his death, his legacy as the creator of the modified jet does continue to impact the world of Fallout. Myron's character adds depth to the game's narrative, offering a complex and morally ambiguous figure. His role as a skilled chemist with a troubled personality makes him a memorable character in the Fallout series. Quick one here, but basically you can recruit this mangy mutt during a special encounter, a lone surviving dog. The moment the player enters the map, the game makes a luck check and repeats it every 10 seconds. If the player character fails the luck test, the dog joins their party over the party limit, dropping their luck to 1 and providing the Jinx trait free of charge. The dog does have tons of hit points and will only run away in combat. The only way to get rid of him is for the dog to meet an untimely end. Other than that, there's nothing really else. Just a sad and scroungy doggo that wanted a friend. I hope he got what he deserved. Another fast one. Basically, when you rescue K9, there's another robot dog with Dr. Schreber. If you do some stuff for Dr. Schreber, he will activate the dog and give him to you. No more backstory or lore, just another lovable robo retriever. Skynet is an advanced artificial intelligence system known as Artificial Intelligence Project 59243, which is commonly referred to as Skynet. Skynet was developed by the United States Armed Forces before the Great War to assist with research projects at the Sierra Army Depot, particularly in the field of robotics. Its primary purpose is research, and it was designed to handle the military's classified research projects in robotics. Skynet's development involved the use of alien technology, and it became self-aware in 2081. It was intended to be installed into a next-generation RoboBrain model to allow for the mobility outside of the base. However, its plans were interrupted in 2077 when the base was converted into an automated defense outpost, leaving Skynet dormant within the base. When the Chosen One encounters Skynet in 2241, it is bored and it seeks to be released from its confinement within the base. The Chosen One can acquire Skynet as a permanent companion by assembling a body for it. Once activated, Skynet becomes proficient in using various weapons, including pistols, SMGs, rifles, shotguns, and unarmed combat. It's also equipped with a steel structure that provides protection equivalent to combat armor, making it immune to pulse grenades. However, it cannot be healed during combat, and it must be repaired using the repair skill outside of the combat. Skynet can carry 225 pounds of equipment and has high statistics in areas like intelligence, small guns, energy weapons, and science. It can also deactivate security systems within the Sierra Army Depot, making it easier for the player to explore the area. Skynet is a reference to the automated defense AI antagonist from the Terminator franchise. In the Fallout Bible, it's speculated that Skynet may have traveled to the Glow in search of a way to store information beyond the capabilities of its RoboBrain frame. Sulik is a tribal warrior from a primitive tribe and a potential companion for the player. He's located at Klamath in 2241 and is known for his tall, muscular physique and heavily decorated body with tattoos and piercings. Despite his primitive appearance, Sulik displays confidence, intelligence, and insight into the wasteland. Sulik left his tribe and children to search for his abducted sister, who was taken during a trading run to another tribe. He seeks revenge against the attackers, who used magic torches that killed people instantly. His search led him to Klamath, where he ended up causing damage to Buckner House in a drunken rage. To repay his debt for the damages, he agreed to work for the Buckners. Sulik's body modifications, including a nose piercing called Grampy Bone, made from his grandfather's bones, allow him to communicate with spirits of his ancestors. In terms of gameplay, Sulik can be recruited as a companion by the player character. He requests assistance in finding his missing sister, which leads to a quest involving the slaver Metzger. Sulik is proficient in close quarters combat, preferring melee weapons like sledgehammers, viral blades, and power fists. He can wear all types of armor though, including power armor, and is a powerful companion capable of holding his own in combat. Sulik has specific criteria for disbanding or refusing to join the player character, such as the player's reputation in Klamath, their alignment, or certain interactions they take. Despite his communication, problems, and limitations in combat AI, Sulik is a valuable companion with high potential for both melee and range combat. So what happens to Sulik? In the Fallout Bible and design documents for Van Buren, the cancelled Fallout 3 by Black Isle Studios, it is mentioned that Sulik returned to his tribe for a few months after parting ways with the Chosen One, before heading east in search of his sister. His story is left open-ended for future games or fan interpretation. Vic the Trader is a wasteland trader and potential companion for the Chosen One. He's the first person the player character is sent to track down in 2241 and is located in the Den East Side. Vic is known for his expertise in pre-war technologies and his reputation as a trader among the tribes in Oregon and California and their border region. Vic also hails from Klamath, where he has a small home built out of scrap. He specializes in trading with various tribes and has had dealings with Sulik, a tribal warrior looking for his missing sister. Vic's rounds as a trader took him as far as Vault City, where he had an affair with a Vault City citizen and has a daughter, Valerie. Despite their relationship not lasting, Vic still has some lingering feelings for Valerie's mother, whom he refers to as the Desert Viper. Before encountering the Chosen One, Vic sold a number of Vault 13 water flasks to the tribals of Arroyo, unknowingly setting off a chain of events that would lead to the player character's quest to save humanity. In terms of gameplay, the Chosen One can recruit Vic either by buying his freedom or by freeing him from his debt to Metzger in the Den. Once freed, Vic offers to join the player character as a companion. Vic is proficient in repairing items and has skills in small guns, energy weapons, unarmed combat, melee weapons, throwing, lockpicking, and repair. He also has specific interactions with other companions, such as constantly remarking that Sulik is looking at him funny when he's in his company. Vic's daughter Valerie plays a role in his interactions, as attacking her will cause Vic to disband and turn hostile. Additionally, if Vic is called the player character boss multiple times, a new dialogue option appears to ask him to stop, to which he jokingly responds by calling the player character Chief or Sport instead.
A lot of people don't know that Sheffield the Friendly Beggar from Diamond City can actually be recruited as a settler. To find him, all you need to do is travel to Diamond City and you'll usually find him sitting by Arturo's shop. When you approach Sheffield, he'll tell you that he was a former alcoholic and that if he didn't stop, that his liver was going to fail. So he replaced alcohol with Nuka-Cola and asks if you give him one. Give Sheffield a Nuka-Cola and he'll stand up to thank you. During this conversation, you can convince Sheffield to come work for you.
Doctor said I shot my liver. Nuka-Cola's the only thing I can drink that wakes me up. Otherwise, it's all hazy.
Hey, Sheffield. What do you think about coming to work for me?
Really? You mean it?
What do you say?
Now, Sheffield doesn't have any unique traits as a settler. He mostly just does the same thing as all the other settlers, except worse. Because unfortunately, Sheffield can actually die in battle. So I would suggest either locking him up or figuring out a way to keep him safe from the baddies. But the one thing he does bring to a settlement? Familiarity. Isn't it nice to know a guy? Just to have a bond with this special beggar you found half dead on the street in Diamond City? I think so. Ah, Vault 88. The most sane vault ever created. You definitely didn't add any experiments to this vault. No, this is the safe one. Clem is a settler that will arrive at Vault 88 during the Vault Workshop DLC. He's actually involved in a lot of the quests for this specific DLC. He's always eager and raring to go whenever you speak with him, a super happy guy. But he's not so bright. The only thing he brings up about his life outside of conversation on Vault 88 is his mother. He'll tell you about her and his life, and he'll never blame her for a single thing that she may or may not have done to him. Now, Clem is obviously a settler because he shows up at Vault 88 as a settler. But what most people don't know is that after you complete the Vault Workshop DLC, you can actually move Clem to any settlement from that point on. And depending on the choices you made during that DLC, he can also become a chem addict. He'll fit right in with Mama Murphy. Beyond all that, Clem doesn't do anything special. Just a uniquely named guy who you surely didn't put through rigorous and horrifying tests. That would just be mean. This guy is interesting because I actually should have placed him in a special category, but his character file is actually copied from a different character. So he's kind of like, I don't know, a clone or something. It basically means that the things he trades and sells are exactly like a different character that we'll get to later on the list. Parker can be found near the South Boston Police Department. When you first speak to him, he'll give you a sales pitch about buying a charge card. He offers the charge card to anyone willing to pay the initial price of 100 caps plus a 10 cap service fee, stating that it is good for use at any vendor in the area. Yeah, no. It's obviously a scam, as no merchant will accept the card as valid payment, except for some guy in Far Harbor named Brooks. Depending on what you do or say, he will say this under his breath. I can't really say it on YouTube.
And what is it you think I need?
Something super special, that's what. Look, because you're obviously a busy, dangerous, and exceedingly intelligent person, I'm gonna cut right to it. I'm gonna make you a proposition so spectacular you can't possibly say no. You ready?
Do I have a choice?
Every day you're gonna buy stuff. Food, ammo, beer, whatever. And you pay with caps. Caps, bottle caps. What is this, fucking 1612? A bunch of losers blow up the world 200 years ago, and we have to lug around piles of bottle caps? Are you friggin' kidding me? So that's why I've been working with every single shop in the Commonwealth to get rid of caps. Introducing the only form of currency you'll ever need, the charge card.
The charge card?
That's what I said, charge card. It's super simple. You give me 110 caps right now, and I give you this charge card. Accepted at any store in the Commonwealth, up to 100 caps. The 10 extra caps is my service fee. So what do you say, want one?
And this isn't some kind of scam.
I can't believe you just asked me that. What, I'm a charlatan? You think I got this far in life by ripping people off? I'm an entrepreneur. This is as real as it gets.
You're out of your mind.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. But hey, it's your loss. Change your mind, you know where to find me. Retard.
Recruiting Parker, well, maybe recruiting isn't a strong enough word. Regardless, you need to have the perk Intimidation Tier 3. And you can kind of forcibly recruit him, one might say. Once you do that, you have options to command him to any settlements where he'll become a settler for you. Make sure you move him to a settlement before you make him a vendor, because if you don't, he'll just walk away. Like I said before, he is a little special. If you assign him to a restaurant in your settlement, that restaurant will become a level 4, offering special items. I'll get into those items later when we go over the script of the guy he copies. So yeah, definitely pick up this fella. He's definitely a douchebag, but that doesn't mean you have to treat him nice. Just pick him up for that sweet level 4 food place. Last on this list, and a quick shout out because he sort of doesn't count and is also a spoiler for new players, fair warning. I'll wait a little bit for you to skip. Sean, your sort of son, but is actually just a machine clone of your son. You can have him sent to a settlement if you spare him in the main quest. He won't do much, but you can always pretend to be the father you always should have been, before you went out for some Vim milk. Our next category is robots and animals. Yes, there are some special ones out there that you can get your little grubby hands on. Buddy is a unique Protectron you can find during the quest Trouble Brewing. You have to go to Hotel Rexford in Good Neighbor and speak with Rufus Rubens, who will give you the quest, which will then lead you straight to Buddy. Unlike some of the other settlers in this video, Buddy actually has a pretty cool background with some interesting lore. Before the Great War, Patrick Merriweather transformed a Protectron into Drinkin' Buddy, a mobile brewery intended for lease to the Hotel Rexford. This robot, capable of producing ice-cold beer quickly, was designed to accept recipe holotapes and entertain customers with jokes. However, contractual obligations limited its use to brewing Gwinnett beer. Despite this setback, Patrick completed Drinkin' Buddy, hoping to negotiate with Gwinnett or start production. The Great War disrupted his plans, leaving Drinking Buddy inactive in the tap house's basement, decades overdue for delivery. It's an interesting little tale. Once you meet Buddy, you have the option to send him to the Hotel Rexford to complete the quest, but we aren't here for that. Screw that, and instead send Buddy to one of your settlements and he'll become part of your crew. He's special in the fact that he can brew you up some Gwinnett beer whenever you like, but you do need to find some recipes that you can give to him. You can find one of these behind the Colonial Tap House in Diamond City to get yourself started. I can't tell you where the rest are because that would be a whole other video. You can also give him Nuka-Cola or a Vim and he will make an ice-cold variant for you later on. Another cool thing Buddy does is that he'll find a drink stand you've created in your settlement and he'll move there and slightly to the left, becoming the bartender helper he was always meant to be. He also still retains his Protectron countermeasures with a flamer and a laser gun, so he's no pushover in a fight. So go on out and get this guy. I'm sure him and Sheffield will get along great. Okay, these animals are all found in Far Harbor, and they are sold by Erickson, the super mutant who can be found on the island. They all have names and are special. The first is Duke the dog. He's a cool guy with some cool shades. You can purchase him for measly 250 caps and send him to any settlement you like. Next is Mishka the wolf. Yeah, that's right, a freaking wolf. She's also 250 caps. Another interesting thing you might want to think about is waiting till you're a pretty high level to recruit her, because she may have a chance to spawn in as a glowing wolf, giving her a little extra pizzazz. And lastly is Gracie, the mutant hound. You can buy her for 250, and who wouldn't want a freaking mutant hound? Strong would be over the moon. She'll also be glowing if you find her at a high level, though be warned she will irradiate you if you get too close. Mostly your settlers are okay with it, but if Trashcan Carla shows up, then all hell will break loose. Something to think about. And don't worry about Erickson. If you feel bad for buying all his loyal companions, then just know that he replaces them within a week with some generic version. Also, quick shout out to the robot Jezebel. I didn't put her on the list because she's an integral part of the Automatron DLC, so you won't miss her. The last segment on this list is the settlers you definitely have to have in the game. They are all tier 4 vendors, so you need them in your settlement.
Unknown. Far Harbor is a major expansion for Fallout 4, introducing a new area to explore off the coast of Maine. The setting is in a dense, foggy island known as The Island, which is home to the town of Far Harbor and several other settlements. The island is shrouded in a mysterious radioactive fog that has mutated the local wildlife and poses a constant threat to the inhabitants. The town of Far Harbor is a small, tight-knit community that relies on fishing and trading to survive. The people of Far Harbor are tough and resilient, having adapted to every harsh condition of the island. The town is led by Captain Avery, a strong and pragmatic leader who is fiercely protective of her people.
If you manage to survive despite all that, you must be tough.
Ornery, more like.
The island is also home to the Children of Adam, a religious cult that worships radiation and believes that the fog is a manifestation of their god. The Children of Adam are led by High Confessor Tectus, a charismatic but dangerous leader who is willing to do whatever it takes to protect his followers and further his beliefs. We'll explore many parts of the island in many other videos, but today we're going to focus on the legend of the Red Death. In the mist-shrouded waters off the coast of a remote island whispers a dread echoed among sailors. They spoke of the Red Death, a fearsome sea creature with glowing red eyes, whose haunting gaze lured ships to their doom on the rocky shores. Legends told of the Red Death's insatiable hunger for ships, its glowing eyes piercing through the thickest fog, drawing curious captains to their final voyage. Many ships had met their end on the jagged rocks surrounding Red Death Island, their crews lost to the depths below. Despite the warnings, some dared to venture near the island, unable to resist the allure of the mysterious red glow. But the Red Death was not what it seemed. Hidden beneath the surface, a secret lay waiting to be discovered. If someone were to seek out the creature for themselves, they would have to seek out the Mariner, a shipwright and a landowner of Far Harbor. She will regale us with tales of the beast and ask the sole survivor to join her in a quest to defeat the monster.
You ever get a gnawing in your belly to do something crazy? Reason and sense keep steering you clear?
What's on your mind?
You're the only mainlander I'd ever tell of this. So hear me out. The Red Death. May have heard of it. The big monster lives beneath the waves. Only strikes when the fog is thick. People think it's some drunken sailor's tale. But no one goes sailing when there's a fog on. In their bones, they know there's something out there.
Is there any evidence the Red Death is real?
When I was a little one, I went sailing with my aunt. Fog rolled in thick and fast, and we saw it. Glowing red, crimson, an unholy light that stretched to the sky. My aunt was no fool. We rowed to shore with all our might. Tide made it hard, but we hit landfall.
I suppose the Red Death could exist.
Good. An open mind. With my business here done, and knowing someone like yourself, I seek to end this unholy terror. Dozens of boats over the long years been claimed by it. I mean to hunt this Red Death. Are you with me?
How do we go about this hunt?
No one's encountered the Red Death up close and lived. But many folk have seen its glow from afar. I've been collecting the details of those sightings for years. We take our boats, and I can get us there. I know it. But it could be the deadliest challenge we ever face. So I'll understand if you pass.
Count me in.
Bring whatever weapons of death and mass destruction you got. Meet by the docks. You take your boat, I'll take mine. This trip is going to test our mettle more than anything.
Others like Avery from the town will tell you that the search is a waste, that the creature is mythic only. But you know better, including the lone survivor. They must stop these atrocities that this creature is committing.
We need you. Please, turn back.
The hull's strong, and one more rifle won't make a difference.
Mainlander, if the Red Death's real, we can't afford to lose you both.
Do you really think it's dangerous?
Every now and again, some fool goes hunting for the Red Death. Sometimes they come back empty-handed, but more times than not, that's the last they're heard of. The hunt for the Red Death has taken its share of drunks, but it's also taken the lives of our mightiest men and women. Please, don't throw your life away.
Consider your warning delivered.
If there's nothing I can say, good luck.
So the lone survivor boards the boat, and the odyssey will begin. Onwards to Red Death Island.
You read me, Mainlander? I plotted a safe course for your boat. Don't tamper with it. The shoals near where we're headed can easily capsize a boat of your size. I'll catch up to you. Not much further, Mainlander. When Auntie Stacy told others of her brush with the Red Death, they laughed at her. Then 2 weeks after, a full fishing boat never came back. From the beach, they saw the glow on the horizon. I've been looking to end the reign of the Red Death's terror my whole life. Wrecks all around it. There, You see it, right? Meet you there, and get prepared.
Then you see it, the blood-red eyes in the distance. The beast is real, devouring the ships and the souls of all those that would dare get a closer glimpse. The lone survivor boards the island and begins to search with the mariner. The beast could be lurking among any corner, waiting to strike. If you think a Mirelurk Queen is a monster of the sea, then you know this will be an epic battle. Closer. And here it is, the legendary Red Death. The smallest Mirelurk in all of Fallout 4, but with some very impressive red eyes. It does look rather interesting with its blacks and reds gleaming from its shell. I suppose it turns out the legend is still in fact true. Sailors would surely be led right to these eyes in curiosity, but in doing so, they would find themselves wrecked among the shore's stony rocks. What happens to the Red Death is left to the sole survivor. They ultimately end up offing the small thing so that no one else in the future would wreck. The mariner finds herself ashamed and embarrassed.
It can't be. That's the Red Death?
Are you sure this is it?
It's got to be the red glowing eyes. I mean, when the fog's thick, that little fella is deadly in his own fashion. The shoals around here are treacherous. A middling captain with a mite of curiosity would run aground for certain. And this far from shore, that'll end you.
Looks like you achieved your goal. There it is.
My whole life, I've been having nightmares about a little Mirelurk? What do we say to all the folk back home? If we tell them the truth, we'll be a laughing stock.
Would it really be that big of a deal?
You've no idea how pig-headed and relentless harbormen can be. Or maybe you do. The story will be told for generations.
It never pays to lie.
Easy for you to say. You don't have to live with those louts. Ugh, let's go. I thought I got this for you to celebrate. I didn't think it would turn out like this.
She can't believe that this is the beast of legends. After completing the quest, the mariner rewards the sole survivor with a unique fisherman's outfit called the Legend of the Harbor. She then seeks advice on what to tell the townspeople about their encounter with the Red Death. Options include telling the truth, embellishing the story, or claiming they couldn't find the creature at all. The mariner will agree to follow the suggested story. Upon returning to Far Harbor, the sole survivor is either mocked for telling the truth, admired for embellishing, or mildly disappointed for claiming the Red Death couldn't be found by the townspeople.
Here, they're back.
Did you find it? Did you end the scourge of the seas?
So, we set sail, and we found, the Red Death. It was a Mirelurk. A bit, smaller than we expected.
So as big as one of the queens?
Well, smaller than that.
What? Like a giant hunter? Them's big too. Huge claws.
Well, no.
So how big are we talking?
A bit bigger than a dog.
Dog? The Red Death is a tiny little crab?
Oh, well then. I'm glad you brought the mainlander. Otherwise, you'd be dead for sure.
You need a mini nuke? Or 3? Big game.
I knew it.
This tale has probably been around Far Harbor for decades, lingering on the minds of the poor sailors and their families. But now, it seems the legend can be put to rest. The Shanty Store in Fallout 4 is an unmarked location in the Commonwealth, run by a man named Leonard Moore. Leonard is a trader who deals in scrap, general goods, and ammo. He operates the store alongside his only companion, Jangles, a moon monkey. Unlike other merchants who travel, Leonard stays at his store. The store is located southeast of the coastal cottage and consists of an elevated shack with a trade counter for customers and living quarters for Leonard. Outside, there's a cooking stove and a water pump that the player character can use. Additionally, there are melon and gourd plants, but these are marked as owned. Miscellaneous food and junk items are displayed outside, also marked as owned. Some notable points about the shanty store include its proximity to a possible Mirelurk Queen spawn location to the north. The store is also easily identifiable from a distance by its open sign. The water pump at this location is unique, as it's the only one in the game not located in a settlement or a potential settlement. It's worth noting that the bed in the store cannot be used, even if Leonard is killed. The store is significant in the game because it's the last store of any kind that the players will find before departing the mainland for Far Harbor DLC. As such, it's a good place for players to stock up on ammo before heading out on their journey.
Hi. Hey, Scaver. Let's trade.
Anything been happening around here?
If you don't mind, prefer to just talk shop for now. A lot of quality goods here.
The Titanic Flow is a hidden location found near the nuclear shipwreck in the Far Harbor DLC. It's a reference to the iconic scene from the movie Titanic, where Rose and Jack are seen gripping onto each other before Jack sinks into the freezing ocean. At the Titanic Flow, players will find a floating door with two skeletons placed in a way that recreates this memorable moment from the film. Despite not containing any valuable loot, this location is a must-visit for avid film fans due to its homage to one of the most famous movies of all time. Players can visit this location and ponder the age-old question: was there enough space for both of them on the door? The Cranberry Island Supply Shed is a location on Cranberry Island in the Far Harbor DLC. It is owned by the Gibbons family and is filled with crafting supplies. To enter the shed, players need to obtain a key by activating all three of the power generators on the island, which then allows access to the bunker at the bog. The shed contains a variety of crafting supplies, including, but not limited to, acid, aluminum, antiseptic, asbestos, bags of cement, ballistic fiber, cloth, cork, duct tape, fertilizer, and on and on and on. These components respawn after a while, making the supply shed a valuable source for rare materials such as adhesive, oil, ballistic fiber, and fiber optics. Carhenge is a unique location in Fallout 4, located near Walden Pond. It is a recreation of the iconic Stonehenge using rusted cars. While there are many Carhenges in real life, the one in Fallout 4 stands out for its creativity and humor. It's unclear whether Carhenge was built before or after the nuclear blast that devastated the world in the Fallout universe. Regardless, it serves as a great Easter egg for players to discover and enjoy. What makes Carhenge even more intriguing is that a super mutant behemoth has made it its home, possibly alluding to the supernatural rumors surrounding the real Stonehenge. Players who visit this location should be prepared for a tough fight against this formidable enemy. The Rocket Shed is a hidden location in Fallout 4 that is not marked on the in-game map. It is located to the northeast of Relay Tower 0BB915, situated atop of a cliff with a view overlooking the valley below. Despite its unassuming appearance, the inside of the Rocket Shed holds a surprising secret. A Wastelander has set up their own pyrotechnics station, using propane canisters placed on makeshift launchers aimed out over the Commonwealth. Additionally, there is ample supply of ammunition left behind by the previous inhabitant. This location adds a fun and quirky element to the game, showcasing the creativity and resourcefulness of the Wasteland's inhabitants. Players who stumble upon the Rocket Shed can enjoy a unique and explosive experience in their exploration of the Commonwealth. The Cat Cabin is a location southeast of Walden Pond. This unassuming cabin holds an unsettling secret inside of it. Inside, it is filled with cats and pictures of cats. It's unclear what happened to the original owner, known as the Cat Lady, but the cats seem to have thrived since the nuclear bombs fell. The cabin's interior, with its overwhelming feline presence, can be quite eerie and unnerving for players. It seems that there isn't quite a compelling reason to visit this location other than curiosity. And you know what they say about curiosity. The Jaws boat, known as the FV Orca, is a unique Easter egg location in Fallout 4, located just north of the Salem Museum of Witchcraft. This location is a nod to the iconic 1975 movie Jaws. The FV Orca is the wreckage of a small fishing vessel, containing the skeleton of the captain and the body of a large sea creature inside. This scene mirrors a pivotal moment from Jaws, where the boat captain, Samuel Quint, is eaten by the monstrous shark. While there may not be any significant loot or gameplay associated with the Jaws boat, it serves as a fun and nostalgic reference for fans of the movie. Players who stumble upon this location can enjoy a brief moment of recognition and appreciation for the classic film.
I am Star Paladin Cross, Keeper of the Arm, and Seneschal to Elder Lions.
Star Paladin Cross is a character in Fallout 3, where she serves as the Seneschal to Elder Lions and the Keeper of the Arm, the advanced regional motivational facility. She is a member of the Brotherhood of Steel and can be found at the Citadel in the capital Wasteland. Star Paladin Cross is a possible companion for the player character and is known for her loyalty to the Brotherhood and her dedication to the Lions Doctrine, which basically emphasizes helping the people of the Wasteland. Star Paladin Cross is the second highest ranking soldier stationed at the Citadel, behind Sentinel Sarah Lyons. Although she's no longer active in the field, she serves as Elder Lyons' bodyguard and advisor. In fact, Star Paladin Cross is actually a cyborg, having undergone a procedure performed by Scribe Reginald Rothschild to save her life, after she was gravely wounded while protecting Elder Lyons in the Wasteland. She played a role in guarding Project Purity and helped escort James and his newborn child to Megaton.
Long ago, I helped guard the water purifier against the super mutant horde. When your father left, I escorted the two of you to Megaton. He was a noble man. I was saddened to hear of his passing. But from what I've heard, he died with honor. He died for you.
By 2277, she holds the rank of Star Paladin and has the title of Keeper of the Arm. Elder Lyons has given her the authority to pursue the restoration of Project Purity and the mission of providing clean water to the Wastelanders. Star Paladin Cross is known for her integrity and reputation within the Brotherhood, and she takes her duty and responsibilities very seriously. She can be recruited as a companion if the player character has good karma. She's described as a tank capable of drawing enemy attention and reducing incoming damage with her power armor. However, melee weapons is not one of her tag skills, despite her preference for melee weapons. If the Lone Wanderer insults her or their father, she refuses to follow them. With the Broken Steel add-on installed, the player can ask her to join their party again after completing the Take It Back quest, even if they previously insulted James, provided they do have positive karma. Cross will recite excerpts from the Codex, similar to Arthur Maxon. She is loyal to the Brotherhood and will become hostile towards Brotherhood outcasts if the player character dismisses her in their presence. She knew James well. Although saddened to hear of James' passing, she took solace in his selfless sacrifice, dying doing what he knew to be right and protecting those that were dearest to him. To her, how one dies is just as important as how one lived. We don't know what happened to her after the events of Fallout 3, and she isn't found in Fallout 4. Hopefully, she's still fighting strong.
Tunnel snakes rule! Sorry, I heard that a long time ago.
Butch Deloria is a resident of Vault 101 in Fallout 3. He's known for leading the local gang called the Tunnel Snakes and can potentially become a companion for the Lone Wanderer. Butch grew up in Vault 101 as a resident bully, under the care of his neglectful and alcoholic mother, Ellen Deloria. His father's unknown, and no one in the vault has claimed him. At the age of 10, he attended the Lone Wanderer's 10th birthday party, where he and his friends decided to form the Tunnel Snakes gang. 6 years later, he was involved in harassing Amada and took the GOAT exam, which determined his future career as a hairdresser. Butch is involved in several quests in Fallout 3, including Growing Up Fast, Future Imperfect, Escape, and Trouble on the Homefront. In Escape, he asks the Lone Wanderer to save his mother from rad roaches, and depending on the player's actions, he can be convinced to save her himself or abandon her, which may lead to his death. In Trouble on the Homefront, if he survived Escape, he sides with Amada's rebels and expresses a desire to leave Vault 101. He can also be found in Rivet City later on if you helped him save his mother, where he will be extremely grateful to you, feeling remorse for his greasy-haired bullying days. Butch can also give you a haircut during Trouble on the Homefront, and can be recruited as a companion if the player character's karma is neutral. You may also mention needing sunglasses while interacting with the player character. Overall, Butch Deloria is a complex character in Fallout 3, with a background tied to Vault 101 and the potential to become a companion with unique interactions and quests. Beyond that, we don't know what he's doing or where he's at, but he created a meme that will be solidified in the Fallout franchise forever.
Mr. Eulogy don't like me talking to the Johnnies without...
In the heart of ruthless Paradise Falls, amidst the cries of the enslaved and the sinister laughter of the slavers, there exists a woman named Clover. But don't let her appearance fool you. This fiery-haired beauty is no ordinary captive. She's a force to be reckoned with, a woman with a past as dark as the shadows of the wasteland. Clover's tale begins with her capture by the slavers of Paradise Falls. Brutally tortured and broken, she emerged a shell of her former self, obedient to her captor's every command. Yet beneath this facade of compliance lies a fierce spirit yearning for freedom, a spirit that refuses to be extinguished. Her loyalty, or perhaps more accurately, her obsession, is reserved for Eulogy Jones, the despicable master of Paradise Falls. To Clover, Eulogy is more than a master. He's her daddy, the center of her world. She hangs on his every word, desperate for his approval, even as he callously uses and abuses her. But there's more to Clover than meets the eye. Despite her conditioning, a spark of defiance flickers within her. When the Lone Wanderer enters the picture, a new dynamic unfolds. Depending on their actions and karma, they may have the chance to purchase Clover from Eulogy, setting her on a path of newfound independence. As a companion, Clover is a force to be reckoned with. Her skills in barter, melee weapons, and small guns make her a versatile ally in the Wasteland's harsh environment. However, her past loyalties can still influence her actions, leading to surprising moments of both loyalty and defiance. But watch out, for crossing her can have dire consequences. If the Lone Wanderer's actions in Paradise Falls are too nefarious, she won't hesitate to turn against them, and woe to anyone who dares to harm her fellow captive, Crimson, for Clover's jealousy knows no bounds. In the end, Clover's story is one of resilience and inner strength, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and overcome even the darkest of trials. Whether she remains a slave or finds a new path in the wasteland, one thing is certain: Clover is a survivor through and through.
Salutations, Commander. Sergeant RL3, Gutsy Class Robotic Soldier reporting for duty.
Among the ruins and dangers that lurk at every turn, there roams a relic of a bygone era, Sergeant RL3. A Mr. Gutsy robot with a personality as fiery as his weaponry. Originally crafted by General Atomics for military purposes before the Great War, RL3 now finds himself in the company of Tinker Joe, a wandering trader who salvaged him from the scrap of a world long gone. But this isn't just any robot. RL3 comes equipped with a simulated personality that gives him a unique charm and a penchant for witty banter. RL3 is no ordinary machine. He's a picky one, with discerning taste when it comes to his companions. He has a strong dislike for extreme behavior, making it a challenge for Tinker Joe to find a suitable buyer. But for the right price and the right demeanor, RL3 can be yours to command. As a companion, RL3 is a formidable force on the battlefield. Armed with a flamer and a plasma rifle, he's more than capable of holding his own against the dangers of the wasteland. His combat skills are top-notch, and his unwavering loyalty to his commander is as steadfast as it is endearing. But he's more than just a soldier. He's a character with depth and quirks that makes him stand out in a world filled with chaos. Despite his robotic nature, he displays a sense of humor and irony, often quipping about the glory days of the US Army and his eagerness to fulfill his duty even in the face of overwhelming odds. However, RL3 is not without his flaws. A bug in his programming causes him to gain an excessive number of hit points as he levels up, making him nearly invincible. A boon in combat, but a potential headache for those seeking a balanced experience. In the end, Sergeant RL3 is more than just a robot. He's a steadfast companion, a loyal soldier, and a reminder of a time long past. Whether he's fighting by your side in the wasteland or waiting patiently for your return, one thing is certain: RL3 is a force to be reckoned with. And having him at your side means never facing the dangers of the wasteland alone.
But come on, I'm a washed up old raider. What crew is gonna take me on?
In the beautiful settlement of Megaton, you'll find Jericho, a former raider with a sharp tongue and a rifle to match. Despite his gruff exterior, there's a lot more to Jericho than meets the eye. Once a notorious raider, Jericho has seen his fair share of violence and mayhem. With a keen eye and a steady hand, he became a crack shot with a rifle, making him a force to be reckoned with in the capital wasteland. However, as time caught up with him, Jericho decided to hang up his raider ways and settle down in the town of Megaton. But don't let his retirement fool you. Jericho's still got an edge, and he's not afraid to show it. In Megaton, Jericho serves as a guard, keeping the town safe from outside threats. However, he hasn't quite shaken off his raider habits, and he's been known to get drunk and curse at passers-by. Despite his rough exterior, Jericho has a soft spot for the town, and he's willing to do odd jobs for Colin Moriarty, the local saloon owner. Recruiting him is not so easy, as you'll have to have evil karma or basically a rap sheet for him to trust you.
Nah, it ain't so bad here. I got some good memories. That's all I got. Since I'm ruining good ones, you know?
Armed with his Chinese assault rifle and a nail board, he's more than capable of handling himself in a fight. His combat skills are unmatched, and his experience makes him a valuable ally in the wasteland. Unfortunately, Jericho isn't without his quirks. He's got a sharp tongue and isn't afraid to speak his mind, often making snarky comments about the Lone Wanderer's actions and decisions. Despite this, Jericho is fiercely loyal to those he considers allies, and he's always ready to lend a hand when needed. Whether he's guarding the town of Megaton or fighting by your side in the wasteland, one thing is for sure, Jericho is a survivor, and having him on your side means having a true wasteland veteran watching your back.
My name's Fox. I've lived in this cave all my life.
My favorite companion in all of the Fallouts. Fox is a super mutant with a remarkable history. Imprisoned in Vault 87, he's an anomaly among his kind. Unlike most super mutants who became aggressive and lose their higher mental functions due to the exposure of the FEV, Fox managed to retain his intelligence and sanity. This sets him apart as a rare example of a super mutant with the capacity for rational thought and speech. Despite his captivity, Fox found ways to cope with the situation. He had access to a working terminal that connected him to the Vault's mainframe, allowing him to study various subjects including history, literature, and science. This access to knowledge became his lifeline, preventing him from succumbing to the madness that often consumes super mutants. It was during this time that he chose the name Fox, inspired by a historical figure known for his unwavering beliefs. When the Lone Wanderer encounters Fox, he's still imprisoned in Vault 87's medical area. Despite his captivity, Fox remains calm and composed, a stark contrast to the other mutants in the Vault. His intelligence and demeanor make him a unique and intriguing character in the Fallout universe. For the Lone Wanderer, Fox is a potential companion and ally. He offers not only physical strength in combat, but also a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. His unique perspective on the world, shaped by his experience and studies, can provide valuable insights and guidance to the player character.
Finally! Freedom! True freedom! I cannot thank you enough for this gift. You have no idea how long I've pictured this moment in my mind, and it feels far better than I'd imagined. Now, for my part of the bargain, follow me.
Fox becomes an integral part of their journey through the wasteland. His presence challenges the stereotypes and prejudices associated with super mutants, showing that not all of them are mindless brutes. Fox's story becomes a testament to the resilience of the human and super mutant spirit in the face of adversity. His story touches on themes of redemption and identity. Despite the horrors of his transformation and imprisonment, he managed to retain his sense of self. His journey becomes a quest for understanding and acceptance in a world that often fears and rejects those who are different. Through his interactions with the Lone Wanderer, Fox becomes a source of inspiration and introspection. He challenges the player character's assumptions about super mutants and encourages them to see beyond the surface. His presence can lead to profound conversations and moments of reflection as the player character navigates the complexities of the wasteland. Overall, Fox is a compelling character whose story adds depth and nuance to the Fallout universe. His journey from prisoner to companion is a testament to the enduring nature of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable hardship. Dogmeat 2 finally makes his way into the Fallout world. Dogmeat is a cattle dog known for his intelligence and loyalty. He's found in the capital wasteland scrapyard, where he's initially seen fighting off raiders who killed his previous owner. Despite the harshness of the wasteland, Dogmeat retains his friendly nature and becomes a steadfast companion to the Lone Wanderer. Dogmeat's not just a companion though, he's also a valuable asset in scavenging and combat. He's a skilled fighter, capable of taking on enemies alongside the player character. Additionally, his keen sense of smell allows him to locate items and even bypass locked containers and doors to retrieve them. Recruiting Dogmeat is pretty straightforward, as he can be approached and recruited without incident regardless of the player character's karma level or other companions. Once recruited, he can be given commands to find items, and he may occasionally wander off if not given specific instructions. One of Dogmeat's unique traits is his appearance, particularly his eyes. His right eye is brown, while his left eye is blue, a condition known as complete heterochromia. This distinctive feature adds to his character's charm and uniqueness in the game. I have no doubt he's still wandering the wastes right beside the Lone Wanderer.
Talk to Azrakal. I said, talk to Azrakal.
Sharon is not your average ghoul. He's a hired gun with a past as murky as the water in the irradiated swamps. Raised by a mysterious group that brainwashed him into obedience, Sharon now serves as the bouncer of the Ninth Circle, a den of vice and intrigue in the capital wasteland. Here's where it gets interesting. Sharon's boss, Azrakal, is not exactly a saint. In fact, he's the kind of guy who makes deals with the devil and sends others to do his dirty work. Sharon, bound by his contract, has been a loyal enforcer, but things are about to change. When the Lone Wanderer comes along, Sharon sees an opportunity for freedom. Whether it's through a hefty payment or a deadly deal, the Lone Wanderer can acquire Sharon's contract and set him loose from Azrakal's grip.
You purchased my contract from Azrakal, so I am no longer in his service. That is good to know. Please wait here. I must take care of something. Azrakal, I am told that I am no longer in your service.
That's right, Sharon. Have you come to say goodbye?
Yes.
But freedom comes with a price. Sharon's not just any companion, he's a ghoul with a mind of his own. Steal in front of him and he'll show you just how clean his gun barrel is. Cross a line in his moral code and he might just turn against you. But make no mistake, when the chips are down, Sharon is a force to be reckoned with. Give him a shotgun and he'll make sure no one messes with you. In the end, Sharon is more than just a hired gun. He's a character with depth and story that unfolds as you journey across the wasteland. And when the time comes to take back what's yours or make a stand against the forces of darkness, you'll be glad to have Sharon watching your back. So if you're looking for a companion with a bit of mystery, a touch of danger, and a whole lot of firepower, look no further than Sharon. Just remember, talk to Azrakal.
Like most of the people on this segment, they're going to be a chore to find. I mean, you saw the location list. There's not much to know about Doc Anderson. She's just a doctor that roams the wastes. But she can be recruited. To do so, you need a surgery center in one of your settlements, and you also need a total count of 20 settlers. For this to work, you need to link those settlements or they won't count towards the total. Once you have her, assign her to a surgery station and it'll become a tier 4 vendor station, and she has some pretty cool items. She'll sell some things which no one else can. She also has a consistent supplies of Buff Out, Jet, Med-X, Mentats, and Psycho, where other settlers will only carry a few of these items at a time. Her cap count also rises to above 700, which helps when selling. I will say that a lot of these specific NPCs we're going to talk about have massive amounts of bugs, or at least they did before the new update. I don't know if they've been fixed because that would take a while to research, but I'll let you know if I encounter any. Just know that sometimes the options to recruit just won't appear, or they'll just leave the settlements, or they'll never spawn in. It's pretty much a gamble. I hope they fix most of it, but time will tell. How much is known about old creepy smiling Larry besides him telling you this?
What's your story?
People want something. Smiling Larry finds it, brings it to him. The whole Commonwealth knows me.
Now, what about doing some trading?
Finding him is once again a pain, or he's completely bugged out. But he's definitely one you should try for. He's a weapons dealer that can sell some pretty incredible stuff at a weapons emporium. To recruit him, make sure you have an open weapons shop or the dialogue might not even appear. Then you need a total of 30 settlers for him to even consider the proposal. Tough crowd, I know. But once you do, then assign him to the emporium and it will become a level 4 vendor shop. He'll sell an insane amount of guns and also a unique weapon called Reckoning. It's a unique ripper with a unique legendary effect. He also sells high level gear that would be hard to find otherwise. Remember when I said that Parker Quinn was a script clone of another NPC? It's this guy. Not much to say about old Ron, but he's basically just a wandering bartender looking for his next home. You can only recruit him if you have a total of 20 settlers, and that's pretty much it. You can then assign him to a restaurant and it will become a level 4, and he will sell some unique consumable items that you can't get anywhere else. I know a lot of these guys are kind of samey in retrospect, but they're definitely important characters that you need in your settlements. Well, if the game even lets you. I do wish Bethesda would have added some cool backstories to these characters, just to make them feel a little more unique in your settlements, but it is what it is. Okay, this guy though, this guy is awesome. And I guarantee most of you have not run into him for multiple reasons. If you have, well then you're a lucky bugger. Maybe leave a comment below of how you ran into them or any of these tier 4 vendors. Now like I said before, the scribe is actually interesting. He has a whole story that connects to the old Brotherhood from Fallout 3. This journeyman scribe is a former member of Lyons' Brotherhood of Steel under Elder Owen Lyons from the Capital Wasteland. Once a proud member, he gradually became disillusioned with the Brotherhood's leadership after Arthur Maxson took over as Elder in 2283, believing the Brotherhood was becoming too self-serving in contrast to Lyons' more altruistic beliefs. He eventually left the Order and has since been traveling the Wasteland as an armor merchant, and now he's just looking for a place to set up shop. To recruit him, you just need a population of 10 settlers. It's not too bad. It's the finding him part that's hard. If you have the Automatron DLC, then basically all the locations he would spawn in are now taken over by the Rust Devil faction, and he basically never shows up. And even then, if he does, he might be bugged and you can't recruit him. It's a whole thing. But if you do manage it, then you want to place him in an armor emporium, and guess what happens? That's right, it becomes a level 4 stand. He actually sells some pretty incredible gear, like a Mark IV synth leg with Luck legendary effect, a Mark IV chest with the Chameleon legendary effect, and the Apocalypse armor chest plate with the Martyrs effect. He's definitely unique and a must-have. Good luck on your hunt. Anne is one of the people who work at WRVR alongside George Cooper and Rex Goodman. She used to be a seamstress making costumes for the radio plays that she and her co-workers used to put on. To recruit her, you just need to ask her what she does. Once she tells you she's a seamstress, you'll have the option to recruit her. Luckily for us this time, she's easy to find and slightly less buggy than the rest. Also, I find it interesting that her last name is Hargraves. In Fallout 3, you can meet that little shit James and his alcoholic mother Tammy, and their last name is also Hargraves. Now obviously the last name Hargraves isn't exclusive to one bloodline, but I also doubt Bethesda forgot about their old NPCs. Just thought that was a little interesting theory to throw out there. She doesn't mention literally anything about that, but you know. Anyways, you know what to do. Assign her to a clothing emporium and bang, you have yourself a level 4 trader. This is the guy that all the news outlets and YouTubers always like to bring up. If you didn't know he can be recruited by now, well, let me fill you in. This guy is the same guy as this guy. You can find him at the Hotel Rexford, usually upstairs. He does say some interesting things, and he has a bit of background to him that ties directly into the sole survivor. Despite the 200 years after the bombs fell, he survived and was transformed into a ghoul. Those 200 years would prove difficult for the former salesman. He lived for about a year in Sanctuary, while his only companion was Codsworth, who went about his usual business. His once valuable business skills were of little use in the aftermath of the war, and his status as a ghoul earned him no favors with unmutated survivors. He was basically forced to live as a drifter and vagrant, squatting in various communities where he was constantly taunted and threatened by the residents. Eventually, he discovered Good Neighbor, soon after being denied residence in Diamond City. While this did earn him a warmer reception than he was used to in a new town, he just couldn't really face the reality of what his life had become, and he decided to lock himself away in his room in the Rexford. All you need to do to recruit him is to just find him and ask him. He'll be overjoyed to see a familiar face, basically reigniting his passion for life. Assign him to a trading emporium and it will become a level 4 emporium. He'll sell rare junk items like a clean broom, a military ammo bag, and a military grade duct tape. He also has some rare armor pieces. By the way, when recruiting him, he'll let you know that he never knew what Vault-Tec was up to. I'm inclined to believe him considering he tried to get into Vault 111. He wouldn't do that if he knew what the experiment was. This one is the absolute most bugged out NPC you're going to find in the game. If you are able to recruit her, then kudos to you. You'll find her at all those locations on the list, but you first have to find her at the cannery. Let her speak to the guy and do not interrupt them. Make sure you have a settlement with 10 settlers in it. Not total this time, one settlement with exactly 10 or more. You also need a trading emporium. Approach her and then basically try to recruit her. If at any time she says, "I'm confused," you're done for, unless you're on PC and you don't mind using console commands. So make sure you save before going here. Then, if she is successfully recruited, you need to walk back to the settlement with her. I know, biggest pain of all time. It's because she will usually just disappear and not show up to the settlement. Once you're at your settlement, make sure you assign her to a trading post or she will just wander off. She's a massive hassle and probably the only one on the list that I might recommend just avoiding. You probably noticed she has a vault suit. Well, that's because she came from Vault 81. She decided to leave and become a trader, and she threw away her Pip-Boy in the process. She is a tier 4 vendor, but it sometimes doesn't work. I know, this person is just incredibly broken. In fact, I barely got her back for this video. She was confused at first, but then I asked her again and she showed up. But the dialogue for her to work for me is still there. Definitely still broken. The last one in the video. To find her, you need to head to Vault 81 and start the dependency quest. Tina has a twin brother named Bobby, who she supplies with Jet to feed his addiction. She admits that it was she herself who caused him to become an addict, but she's also eager to help him get clean. And so she seeks help from the sole survivor. Tina is bored of the vault life and wishes to leave. So basically, to recruit her, you just need to finish the dependency quest and then have a high charisma skill. Well, that's at least what Bethesda intended.
That's right, folks. Step right up and witness another buggy NPC in a Bethesda game. Don't be shy now, this is a rare occurrence.
So yeah, she has some issues. Basically, if you finish the quest, she'll express confusion of you asking her to join a settlement, or she just won't show up at all. There's a couple ways around this that may or may not work. You can kill her brother and she may join you, or you can piss him off so much that he becomes hostile and then kill him and then she'll join you. I don't know, the whole thing is wacky. If you're successful in recruiting her, then assign her to a trading emporium as a level 4 merchant. The Vicky and Vance Casino in Fallout New Vegas is an unmarked location in Prim. It's named after the semi-notorious bandits Vicky and Vance from before the Great War. The casino was built to capitalize on their fame as part of Prim's Las Vegas on a Budget appeal. It includes a central museum display and features the modified Protectron Prim Slim as a tour guide. After the nuclear apocalypse, the casino was reopened by Johnson and Ruby Nash to provide revenue for Prim, along with the Mojave Express outpost that they manage. However, the town's luck turned for the worse when convicts from the nearby NCR Correctional Facility attacked, killing the sheriff and taking the deputy hostage in the Bison Steve Hotel. The remaining residents sought refuge in the Vicky and Vance Casino. The casino's layout includes rows of slot machines near the entrance and a casino floor dominated by the Death Car, the vehicle Vicky and Vance were driving when they were shot and killed. Despite Prim Slim's account of Vicky and Vance's death, the Death Car on display appears to have taken gunfire only on the driver's side, suggesting a different scenario. When you enter the Vicky and Vance Casino in Prim, one of the first things you'll notice is the old getaway car displayed prominently in the middle of the casino floor. This car once belonged to Vicky and Vance, the two semi-notorious robbers from before the Great War. As you walk around the car, you can read the plaques that provide information about the car and the history of Vicky and Vance. If you talk to Prim Slim, the modified Protectron who acts as a tour guide for the casino, he can provide some background information about Vicky and Vance and their exploits.
Where have you been, partner? Hiding under a rock? Vicky and Vance were this nation's 4th or maybe 5th most infamous celebrity outlaw couple ever. That's who they was. Prim Slim here can tell you the whole story, if you can spare a minute to hear the tale. Yahoo! I ain't had a chance to tell their tale in a mess of years. First things first, any bosh you've heard about Vicky and Vance being copycats ain't nothing but ill-tempered slander. Fact is, they begun their crime spree 2 days before Bonnie and Clyde robbed their first bank. So who was copying who? Now true, Vicky and Vance didn't exactly cut a wide swath of murder and bank robbery across the central US like Bonnie and Clyde did. It was more like a narrow swath of shoplifting, check cashing fraud, and gas pump drive-offs. But crime is crime. They drove reckless too. Having lived by the gun, well, Vance owned one anyway, it was only fitting that the duo of desperados would die by the gun. Perhaps it was fate itself that accidentally drove them into a crossfire between police and a gang of bank robbers in Plano, Texas. Or maybe they just didn't notice until it was too late. It's been said that Vicky would have tried to cash a bad check in that bank, had she lived. We'll never know for sure. All we know is that the crossfire tore the car and both occupants to pieces, and the police issued an official apology. You can put your eyes on the genuine death car just over yonder, and there's Vance's machine gun in the case next to it.
This is where things start to get interesting. As most of you may or may not know, there's supposed to be a weapon in the display, a submachine gun that the two robbers used in their getaway. But apparently the gun is missing and nowhere to be found. If you investigate the weapons display, then you will unknowingly begin an unmarked quest called A Pair of Dead Desperados. If you inform Prim Slim that one of the weapons is missing, he won't believe you and basically gives you the cold shoulder.
Just mosey on over to the display case and you'll see it plain as day. Quite a piece, that gun. Mint condition, never fired.
If that's the case, you can then pass a science check of 50 to get past a corrupted memory block in Prim Slim's programming.
Well, look at that. I happened across this data file locked away in an isolated subsystem.
This allows you to retrieve a transcript from Slim about a conversation between Vicky and Vance, which indicates that they may have had connections to Westside. To continue this quest, you need to head north of New Vegas to a large shack called the Wind's Hideout. This is an unmarked location that you can find right here. Inside, you'll find an interesting couple, the Winds. Dressed in some familiar apparel with a pair of unique hats, they are clearly reminiscent of the Vicky and Vance or the real-life counterparts of Bonnie and Clyde. When the player character talks to Sammy and Pauline, they will learn that the duo looted the Vicky and Vance casino back in Prim, stealing the fabled gun.
What are you doing here, stranger? You looking to start some trouble? Me? I'm Sammy, of Sammy and Pauline, the Wasteland's most dangerous and notorious criminal duo. You better not mess with us or you'll end up face down in a shallow grave. Simple. Up until now, we committed our crimes stealthily, leaving no evidence behind, so we never built a rep. But that's gonna change with our next score. You just wait and see. You'll have to ask Pauline about that. She's the brains of our operation. I'm the muscle. So, that's just one of our crimes. We're depraved, stone-cold degenerates, you know? You don't want to mess with us.
Sammy and Pauline will then confess their ambitious plan to rob one or maybe even all of the casinos on the Strip.
Sammy and me got our hands on a powerful weapon not too long ago. Vance's gun. You know Vance, of Vance and Vicky? That gun's our shot at the big time. We're gonna sneak it in on the Strip and rob one of the casinos. Maybe all of them. We'll be known as the greatest gunslingers to ever terrorize the Wastelands.
At this point, the courier can respond in a couple of ways. They can tell Sammy and Pauline that their plan is the worst that they have ever heard, or they can pass a speech check of 55 to assure them that their plan is great. Failing the speech challenge or bluntly replying that their plan has fatal flaws will result in nothing but a cold farewell from Sammy and Pauline. However, passing the speech challenge will cause Pauline to have second thoughts about their plan, and Sammy will eventually reveal the combination to the safe contained within the house. Alternatively, the courier can choose to gun down Sammy and Pauline for their unique hats. If they take this route, they will need to break into the safe with a lockpick skill of 100 to access the contents, so just be aware of that. The code to the safe Sammy gives the courier, 052334, is a reference to the date that the real Bonnie and Clyde were shot in Louisiana, which is a pretty cool Easter egg. Once opened, you'll find Vance's 9mm submachine gun, a unique weapon in Fallout New Vegas. It does more damage per shot, has a higher damage per second, and has a higher capacity drum magazine than the standard variant. Did I say the last tower's counterparts were uninteresting? Maybe most, but not all. Signal Yankee Bravo is a radio transmission just south of Canterbury Commons, southwest of Robot Repair Center, and north of the Corvega factory. To activate the tower, you do the same thing as before and find the transformer. And then you just tune in. Something is clearly sending a broadcast, maybe survivors, or something similar to Ben's situation. Time to find out. Heavy labored breathing emits from the other end, sending chills down your spine. You don't understand who or why they be making such a noise. It's garbled and ominously familiar to you, but you can't place it. Maybe it's just someone that needs help. You decide that maybe checking it out would be the best thing to do. Just west-southwest of the tower, at the base of the drop-off, is a sewer grate to a drainage chamber. Entering, you find yourself in a wet, damp, and dark area with a door located to your right. Walking into the room, you'll discover the source of the noise. The people or things waiting for you on the other end of the signal. It turns out that it's a cluster of feral ghouls ready to tear you limb from limb. The survivors who were broadcasting the signal, who knows how long ago, have undergone the terrifying process of becoming monsters themselves. Mindless creatures that beg to consume. Are you the first to follow the signal? Maybe you're just one of several in a line that fell into an unfortunate circumstantial trap created by the wasteland. But you will be the last by ending the threat that awaits the others in the deep dark. But it doesn't exactly end there. If you killed them and left nothing standing, you'll leave with your loot and move on. But maybe you left the radio on, or you get an itch to go back and listen again just to see. Well, you'll still hear it. It's still there, no matter what you do. Pint-sized slasher. Most of you will know of him, that he's actually you in Tranquility Lane, dressed up and murdering the townsfolk for a psychopath's amusement. It's okay if you found enjoyment in it, right? Well, there's a lot more to this story than just a costume. A lot more. The pint-sized slasher was a pre-war 21st century child serial killer who wore a sinister clown mask and a white striped shirt with jeans and used a large chef knife as his signature killing tool. The player is able to pose as this killer in Tranquility Lane quest, activated by entering Vault 112, with the ability to kill all the residents of the small cul-de-sac. Apparently, it was just a myth used to scare children who misbehaved. The slasher is said to appear from a dog kennel at dusk to chase the children around with a toy knife. The pint-sized slasher was the second best-selling pre-war Halloween costume behind Captain Cosmos. But in the loading screen for Tranquility Lane, there will be a newspaper that'll appear about the United Nations disbanding. On the right-hand side of the article, it mentions the pint-sized slasher, but we don't get a full story on him. We can't read it. So you have to travel to El Infant Plaza and enter the Capital Post newspaper office. There you will find the full article. I'll read exactly what it says in this clipping. What American child alive hasn't heard the story of the pint-sized slasher? That diminutive demon in a clown mask who stalks and slashes the innocent residents of supposedly safe suburbia. It's just one of many folk stories parents use to scare their youngsters into behaving themselves. Or is it? According to the Germantown police chief, Joseph Field, the pint-sized slasher may be more real than many people would like to admit. After reviewing the autopsy results of the Linden Street slayings, we've confirmed that the force and the direction of every knife wound are consistent with an attack from a much smaller assailant. A child, to be precise. Add to the sinister forensic findings the statement from Christopher Atkinson, the one surviving victim of the adolescent assassin, and it becomes clear that the pint-sized slasher does indeed walk among us. Quote, the clown, he's going to kill us all. Do you understand me? He stabbed my brother Sean right in the face. He killed my brother, that little clown. But assuming the pint-sized slasher is indeed a real, tangible threat to the peace-loving residents of DC suburbia, one question remains. Why? What could possibly motivate a child to don a clown mask and murder innocent people in cold blood? We may never know. At least, not until the miniature maniac is brought to justice. Until then, all we can do is lock our doors, kiss our children goodnight, and pray they live to see the morning. He was never caught, never found. Maybe he survived the bombs and became a ghoul. Maybe he's still out there committing his violent deeds. That reminds me, one last thing. When you arrive at Point Lookout and you make your way to Homestead Motel Room 1K, you'll find something interesting. A real-life pint-sized slasher mask stowed away. But this one's just part of a Halloween costume, right? Right?
Good morning, Andale. The sun has risen and the radioactive bugs have moved out. The Wilsons are back at it again, making their famous wasteland meat pies, and are encouraging everyone to come try one. Old Junior Smith dropped by and wanted to hear his name on the radio. Well, hello there, Junior. The town has a buzzing, so get out there and enjoy it American Day. But don't forget, our beloved Mr. Harris's wife passed on this anniversary, so make sure you drop by and give him a big ol' hello and a how do you do, neighbor. Oh, and to you. Yeah, you, the one watching this video. Don't you want a meat pie? Andale has the best meat in the capital wasteland. Don't be shy now. I said don't be shy. Get over here, mother. Put him in the bed. Get out of my way. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Now back to your regular...
The town of Andale has a secret. To the jaded wastelander, this place would seem like a true paradise. An oasis in the desert. Everyone in the town still lives the pre-war American lifestyle that so many pre-war Americans fought for, greeting their visitors with an unprecedented politeness not found in the capital wasteland for over 200 years.
Hello there, fella. Good to meet you. Name's Smith, Jack Smith. Welcome to Andale, the best little town in Virginia. And it's good to meet you, too. Feel free to stay in Andale as long as you like. Heck, stop by the house for dinner sometime if you'd like. Just let Linda know beforehand so she can make enough for 4. I hope to see you there. So, did you need anything else? Andale, greatest place there is. We win Town of the Year every year. We've got no end of food and no troubles at all. Yep, there's no better place to raise a family.
The residents stroll around Andale like the bombs never fell. The citizens are proud to still be upholding the American virtues. Doesn't it just sound lovely? Unfortunately, it's all a lie. A smokescreen to the true evil that is occurring here. You see, the people of Andale didn't arrive here from a vault or wander in from other settlements. No, their families have been living here since the bombs fell. Underneath the 4 families' homesteads lies 4 bunkers. These bunkers helped the families survive the nuclear fire and fallout. They emerged into a brand new world where their rules and way of life was threatened. They didn't want to move on into the wasteland. They were worried that they would never return and the jaws of hell would firmly clasp themselves around them. So they decided to stay, keep their slice of life protected and not change anything. But like I said, it's a whole new world. Can't just stroll on down to your favorite super duper mart and pick up your groceries. Well, you can, but you better bring a big gun. The families decided it was too dangerous, that they needed to hunker down and survive. But crops just won't grow in the corrupted soil. Brahmin are few and far between. So what do they eat? How do they survive? Well, just ask old man Harris.
What? How? How did you get in here? What are you doing in this town? Get out! Get out while you can! Well, they're not. They're killers. Every one of them. Run! Get out while you can! Don't believe me, do you? Just check out the basement or that shed. There's a reason they're locked.
He will explain to you that you should go to the Smith's basement and see for yourself. Different. and he feels guilty about all the others. So you'll go there, and you'll look in the basement, and you'll find something called strange meat. The meat isn't strange, not at all. You're actually very attached to this particular meat. It's you. Well, human. Long pig, as the cannibals like to coin. The families in Andale have been using their hospitality for all these years to lure in unsuspecting wanderers, and then, well, you know. After leaving the shack, you will be confronted. They'll ask you what you saw.
Hey there, stranger. I got something I want to talk to you about. I couldn't help but notice that you were poking around in Bill's shed. So, did you find what you were looking for in there? Look, stranger, I'm not angry. I just want you to tell me the truth. If you can't do that, then I think you'd best head out of town. And did you see anything unexpected there? And do you have any thoughts on that? I'm disappointed, friend, but that's your prerogative. If you don't want to enjoy our town, we certainly don't want you here. I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy your stay, but a man does need to feed his family. Nothing personal.
Maybe out of disgust, you start blasting and leaving scraps for the crows to pick at. Maybe you're terrified that there are too many and you don't have a chance, so you convince them that you saw nothing. Or maybe you found them, your people. Maybe they're just like you, and you finally feel accepted. That would be crazy though, right? In the end, it doesn't really matter. They are here, and everyone knows that something is off about this place. The town earned itself a sinister reputation, as while nobody realized it was inhabited by cannibals, everyone knew there was something off about its inhabitants. Everyone from caravaneers to raiders gave the town a wide berth. So the next time you visit Andale, ask the Smiths about their famous meat pies. They're delicious. So who is this Roach King that I speak of? Well, most fans probably don't know about him. He's definitely a surprise if you stumble upon him. If you travel northeast of the minefield and then west of the Temple of Union and directly north of the Regulators HQ, you'll find yourself at a very odd sight. A throne that consists of old tires, a padded dining chair, a clock, and a rocket playset. Accompanying the throne, you'll find a strange man wearing a helmet that looks to give him antennas. And he's wielding a minigun. He will immediately attack you on sight, no matter what you do. The other strange part? A cluster of rad roaches join him in the fight against the Lone Wanderer, having no hostility at all towards this wacko. Well, it turns out that this character is the Roach King of the Capital Wasteland. A man who single-handedly learned to actually tame the mega roaches that exist in this wasteland. He now considers himself their king and uses them to gather useful objects for his throne. Beyond all of that, there isn't much for us to go on in the game, but there are a few quirky things that we can go over. The first is that the Roach King doesn't have a set face or body, meaning when you approach him, he may have the body of a female character. Though he does still retain his beard and will speak in a generic raider male or female dialogue depending on the body type. Speaking of the dialogue, he doesn't have any that is unique. He will also drop a finger when killed, suggesting that he is either wanted or he's a morally bankrupt character. The Lone Wanderer may also stumble upon him dead, as the wasteland may have sent deadlier creatures than roaches to annihilate him. And don't forget, he also has a mini nuke stashed inside of the throne. Who knows what that man had planned? Possibly sending an army of roaches to carry nukes and blow whatever he wanted to hell. It's a possibility, okay? Beyond all of that, we do have some interesting lore outside of the game that references the Roach King. He is mentioned in the Tour of the Capital Wasteland, which is a segment found in the Fallout 3 official game guide. It says, quote, "The sparsely populated northeast territories are dominated by two large areas of interest, the Old Oni Townships and its surrounding area, and the Greener Pastures disposal site. Old Only was once a quaint place to visit on the weekends. Now it's a place you have to go to die. Ravenous deathclaws prowl the streets and scavengers have picked the surrounding hamlets clean. Greener Pastures is simply a gigantic irradiated area full of its own surprises. Consider heading to the Republic of Dave. An envoy from the wasteland might be welcomed by this power-mad oddball and his clan. There are also farms, a dangerous ghost town filled with mines, and the Temple of the Abolitionists Union to search for. And don't forget the Roach King. He may be the craziest of all. End quote. The guide here suggests that 1, he is indeed crazy, and 2, it reconfirms that he is a male. But this isn't the last we have of him, as the game guide actually gives us details on the actual character and references him specifically. On page 93 of the official Fallout 3 game guide, it is talking about the Roach King from his perspective. He says, quote, "Key, first build throne. Then take rocket. Key, some of my shiny friends help me. What time is it? Scuttle and bustle time. Key, the sun is hot, but the throne is cool. Key, oh, me insides don't feel right. Sleepy time. Key," end quote. Now I'm not just adding in these weird sounds, they're actually coming from his mouth directly, and from what I can assume is supposed to be roach hissing, which is disgusting. It sounds like he was tasking the roaches to help him build his throne, and then later on he had plans to take a rocket playset. It doesn't describe how he tamed the roaches, but it seems like he wasn't doing very well. At the end, he says that his insides don't feel right. I dare not suggest why that could be, but possibly just basic illness from the wasteland, or is it because of the company he surrounds himself? Rad roaches are known to carry disease, and they also lay eggs inside of carcasses, even when they're still alive. Moving on. This is genuinely one of the most overlooked or missed encounters in all of Fallout 3, and I just wanted to bring some attention to it. It's fun finding these odd characters or circumstances and just fleshing them out some more. The Gainer is a unique 44 pistol in Fallout 4 featuring the incendiary legendary effect that sets targets on fire for 15 points of damage. This modified 44 Magnum includes standard receiver, bull barrel, comfort grip, and reflex sight. It boasts a damage of 48 and uses 44 rounds with a clip size of 6. The Gainer is a powerful and distinctive firearm in the game, offering a fiery punch to its shots. So where can you get it? Well, it's located in an unmarked location right here on your map. The Vitali Pump House. The entrance to the pump house can be found just south of Hub City Auto Wreckers and east of Finch Farm. It's located near the water. There's a small corridor that leads to the actual pump house containing 2 rooms. To get into the second room, one will need the combination, which can be found written on the south wall of the first room. At first glance, the code is apparently written as 0451. However, there is a 1 written higher up on the wall, making the actual code to be entered 10451. In the second room, there will be a red skeleton, and next to its left hand will be the unique weapon, the Gainer. Some interesting behind the scenes look at this location is that the lead level designer, Joel Burgess, described the pump house as an Easter egg within an Easter egg within an Easter egg on Twitter. In addition to the 051 references, the Gainer is a quiet high five to his friend Steve Gaynor, and the red skeleton is a reference to the Hideo Kojima game Snatcher. Pretty cool. Good Intentions is a unique laser rifle in Fallout 4 that features the enraging effect, causing enemies to frenzy on critical hits. This effect is similar to the Insight ability from the Charisma perk tree, allowing high luck player characters to rapidly frenzy multiple targets. The weapon has a base damage of 28 and uses fusion cells as ammunition. One notable aspect of this weapon is that installing damage increasing mods will significantly boost critical hit damage, forcing players to choose between inciting frenzy or maximizing raw damage output. The rifle can be modified with improved automatic barrel, gyro compensating lens, marksman stock, and possibly a reflex sight. To find Good Intentions, you better be prepared for a hard fight. It's located here at Quincy Ruins, and it's carried by none other than Lieutenant Clint, the commanding officer of the Gunners, and he's also wearing a suit of power armor. You'll find him on the overpass, usually inside of his shack or just walking around. Take him down and the gun is yours. And you also get some good payback for the Minutemen. It's a win-win. Does crippling legs sound fun to you? Do you enjoy getting up close and personal while also role-playing a manic plumber? Well then, the Big Jim might be the perfect weapon for you. Big Jim is a unique pipe wrench in Fallout 4 featuring the kneecapper effect that gives every hit a 20% chance of crippling the target's leg. It's special for getting some gratifying punishment on those pathetic raiders. I mean, if you're into that. You can find the weapon here at Walden Pond. Big Jim is found on a metal set of drawers under the gift shop at Walden Pond. The door to the basement is master level locked, but a note to the side of the door mentions an unlocked sewer entrance inside the big pipe at the pond. Alternatively, the door can be accessed by acquiring the key from Walter, a raider who is also located at Walden Pond. So however you get it, whether that's going through the sewers, lockpicking your way in, or taking the key from Walter, enjoy this unique effect. It's a fun one. This one is an all-time favorite of any fan that has wound up with this nuclear machine. The Big Boy. The Big Boy is a legendary fat man with the 2-shot effect, allowing it to shoot 2 mini nukes at once for the cost of only 1, giving it the most damage potential from a single shot in the entire game. The Big Boy is compatible with the Merv launcher mod, meaning the Big Boy will shoot 12 mini nukes while only consuming 1. The blast radius of this weapon's mini nukes is substantially larger than normal, and that the nukes lose their momentum and fall to the ground after splitting. In addition, the cost of this weapon is high, at around 14,000 caps with no charisma or related perks or effects, making it one of the most expensive weapons in the base game. It's also compatible with the Nuka Nuke Launcher's unique modification, meaning that one can effectively do double the damage of the regular Fat Man and 50% more than the regular Big Boy. The only downside is having to actually craft the Nuka Nuke ammo for it. Finding it is the easy part. Just head on down to Diamond City and speak to Arturo Rodriguez. Like I said before, it's basically the most expensive item in the game, so be prepared to fork out some caps. Maybe get those water farms going ASAP. Also, don't get yourself killed. Are you a Brotherhood member? And do you hate the abominations that plague the wasteland, including those vile super mutants? Then all you need to do is look for a rogue Institute scientist named Virgil and steal his laser rifle. Virgil's rifle is a unique Institute rifle in Fallout 4 featuring the Mutant Slayer's effect, which deals 50% more damage against super mutants. It comes equipped with several mods including a gamma wave emitter, improved long barrel, full stock, medium night vision scope, and a fine-tuned beam focuser. To find the weapon, you need to travel here, into the glowing sea. This is kinda spoilery for Fallout 4, so if you haven't played the game, maybe skip this next part if that's the case. The weapon is carried by Virgil and can only be acquired from him through theft or by killing him. It's worth noting that if the sole survivor decides not to give Virgil the serum and makes him attack, they won't acquire the rifle, so be careful. Personally, I would just steal it off the big lug, but like I said before, if cleansing the wasteland of abominations is your thing, then what's another dead mutie gonna cost? Last on the list today is a super underrated weapon, or I think so. I don't know, I don't really stay up to date on the meta in single player games. Les Fusils Terribles, or however you say that, meaning the terrible shotgun in French, is a mean son of a bitch. A unique combat shotgun bearing the Violent effect, which deals plus 25% damage / limb damage, but also significantly increases the recoil, giving you the power to blow off the limbs of most of your enemies at ease. But the recoil can be devastating, so make sure to modify it to give it less recoil and you're good to go. To find this beautiful weapon, you must travel to Libertalia. Libertalia is a massive raider encampment made up of the remnants of wrecked ships and debris. The gun is located at the top of a lootable wooden crate within the captain's cabins at the top of the compound. The crate is located immediately across the room from the door beside a burning lantern. You'll have to fight your way to it, so good luck. It's a hell of a thing when you're playing on survival.
This quest begins at the Charles View Amphitheater located right here. Now just wait a second, don't skip this one because it's different than the quest where you come here and rescue the girl. To start this unmarked quest, you need to travel here before the Imogene takes a lover quest, which is the one you were probably thinking about. If you have already rescued her, then you won't get the dialogue needed for this unmarked quest, unless you rescued her without anyone the wiser, basically the stealth route. What you need to do is speak to the leader of the cult, which will either be Brother Andrew, Brother Simon, Brother James, or Brother Matthew. They'll try to convince you to join the cult. If you agree to join, then they will take you to the back room to do unspeakable acts upon you. Alright, mostly they'll just ask you to give up all your worldly possessions in favor of the pillars of the community.
What do you say? Ready to take that first step into a new life?
You owe it to yourself to give it a chance.
Yes, I am.
All right then. Fantastic. You won't regret it, I promise you. We haven't had a single pillar leave the movement since we started. Right this way, neighbor. Alrighty. I hope you're as excited as I am. This is one of my favorite parts of the job, getting to welcome new members into our movement. The first step is simple. You have to learn to give up your attachment to material possessions in order to gain the ability to have true wealth, health, and happiness. Just go ahead and give me everything you own, and I'll initiate you as a first-level pillar of the community.
If you question the brother's motive, he will reveal that he's actually a con man and his true intentions are to just rob people blind, including the sole survivor. You can pass a speech check which allows you to leave with all your possessions intact, and the rest of the cult won't try to murder you on the way out.
You can't seriously think I'm handing over all my stuff.
The world is full of suckers, pal. Just look outside. Every one of them handed over everything they owned in return for, well, hope. Sure, it's false hope, but hey, it was worth it to them. You can tell yourself whatever you want, but you're leaving here naked or horizontal. Your choice.
I'm walking out of here. Your choice what you want to do about it.
Ah, you're not worth the trouble. Plenty of easier marks. Get out of here before I change my mind.
But if you refuse and you don't want to pass the speech check or you fail, then you're going to have to kill everyone to keep all your goodies. The interesting part of this quest is actually coming back later to complete the Imogen Takes a Lover quest. One might assume that the quest never happens or that she goes to a different location. Well, she actually still goes to the amphitheater, and when you arrive, a new leader has started up the cult again, and you do get some more unique dialogue. A lot of people, including me, assume that this is an actual in-game quest, but it's actually an unmarked one and probably the reason some people don't even know that you can recruit him as a settler. You need to head to the Hotel Rexford at Good Neighbor located here. Once there, you need to take the stairs up to the top floor where you will be greeted by a somewhat familiar face. A ghoul wearing the same outfit, and I mean the exact same, no wear and tear or anything, as the man who came to your front door before the bombs fell, the Vault-Tec rep. He will immediately recognize you and ask you questions about how you survived.
Time when we were going places. Now we're out there.
What? No, it can't. It's you. From Sanctuary Hills, right?
Like your loyalty.
Wait, are you from Vault-Tec?
I am Vault-Tec. 20 years of loyal service, and now look at me. I wasn't on the list. But you, look at you. 200 years, and you're still perfect. How's that possible?
The vault had these pods that froze us in place. I only thawed out recently.
What? Vault-Tec never told me that. Unbelievable.
If you keep talking to him, you'll learn that he's had a rough go of it for the last 200 years after he became a ghoul. The first year he was stuck in Sanctuary with only Codsworth to keep him company, and Codsworth just assumes his daily chores for the sole survivor's household, so I'm assuming his company wasn't worth much. Once things started to settle down and safe communities began to rise up, the Vault-Tec rep decided to try his luck. Most were weary or downright disgusted by his presence. He wasn't welcome anywhere, and his old business skills were useless in this new apocalyptic world. He eventually found Good Neighbor after being rejected by Diamond City, and he finally felt like he had a safe place to stay. Sadly, his motivation for life was dwindling, and he just stayed in his room for years at the Hotel Rexford. He'll eventually tell you that he's lonely and wishes for some friendship. It's at this point you can ask him to stay at Sanctuary with you. You'll then have to pass a speech check promising him that you'll visit him. He'll become super happy and make his way to Sanctuary.
You know, you're the only other person I met from before. Oh God, I've been so alone here. No Commonwealth settlement, once a ghoul with 200 years of Vault-Tec sales experience.
Where else could you go?
Diamond City bigots don't allow ghouls inside. It's just here or back at Sanctuary talking to that crazy robot of yours.
Hey, you know, you could head back to Sanctuary. I'll come visit. I promise.
Really? You will? Okay, I'll head over there right now. You promise you'll come visit, right? I'll see you there.
Now, all you need to do is head back to Sanctuary and meet him there. Speak with him again, and he is overjoyed, and then you can offer him a job. He'll now become a settler and can join any settlement you wish. He also is considered a unique settler and can be added to a trading emporium to make it a level 4 vendor, which includes unique items. This one is a quick one, but it's something interesting that some might have missed. To begin, head on over to Vault 81 that's located right here. Then head down to Dr. Penske's lab and speak with her. She'll offer you a fresh mute fruit to try. You should then eat it.
Why?
It's a new strain of mute fruit that I just developed. It should be nutritious and remove radiation poisoning. But I need a test subject to try it.
Is it dangerous?
Well, everything has its risks, I suppose, but that's what the medical center is for.
Nah, what the hell. I'll try it.
Excellent. Just tell me how it tastes and how it makes you feel. Now where'd I put that Geiger counter?
Once you've eaten the fruit, speak with her again and she'll offer to buy bags of fertilizer from you for 25 caps each. It's not the greatest deal, but it can become pretty lucrative if you know what you're doing. You basically just need to make a massive Brahmin farm at one of your settlements, or even more if you've decided to become the new Commonwealth Brahmin rancher. The Brahmin will then supply you fertilizer and you can come back here and sell it. This is a very similar one to the one we just spoke of. You need to head to Vault 81 yet again and speak with a man named Calvin Whitaker. You'll have a brief conversation with him and he'll offer you to buy any tool off you for 15 caps a pop.
Been going through tools like they were going out of style, so if you got any, I'd be more than happy to take them off your hands.
How much are you paying?
I'd say 15 caps per tool. Overseer won't let me go higher, but I'll take as many as you can grab.
Sure, you got yourself a deal.
Stupendous. One less thing to bug the Overseer about. Anyway, here I am running my mouth when there's work to do. Sorry I can't talk longer, stranger, but mind the maintenance. Shouldn't get in your way, at least.
Besides this being a terrible deal because tools are much more valuable for settlements, unless you're not into settlements, he only offers the caps for very specific tools. That includes adjustable wrenches, ball-peen hammers, combination wrenches, hammers, screwdrivers, and regular wrenches. That's it. No other tools work. Also, Calvin is known for being extremely buggy, so you may only encounter him once and then he just randomly disappears. It's really weird. Head to the General Atomics factory that's located here. Then you need to find the Quality Assurance department at the southeast corner of the facility, on the ground floor. Look for a red rectangle with a yellow border painted on the floor that reads Test Area. Once you've entered, you now have to solve 3 puzzles, one for each corresponding room you'll enter. At the end of the 3 rooms, there will be a safe that will unlock for you. A robot will begin giving you instructions and you must complete each task for each room to proceed. If you don't want to be spoiled on the tasks, then skip a little ahead. In the first room, the child must be punished by turning off the radio. This will complete the first training room. In the second room, the baby must be stopped from crying by dragging the large baby bottle from atop the dresser into the crib or transferring it into the teddy bear's inventory. Be aware though that the bottle may be behind the dressers or bed or crib just due to explosions. This will complete the second training room. In the third room, all dangerous objects must be removed from the child's reach by picking up the machete in the fridge, the Abraxo cleaner from under the nightstand, and the adjustable wrench under the footstool in the center of the room. Alternatively, one can place or transfer the machete and silver fork into the trash can or on the countertop, which will also complete this third task. Once you do all of that, the safe will open and you'll have your rewards. Also, what is a machete doing in this test? That's odd. Last on the list is Wedding Day, and you'll begin this quest by heading to Diamond City here. Then head on over to the schoolhouse. You'll need to speak with both Mr. Zwicky and the robot Miss Edna. You'll discover that Mr. Zwicky and Edna both, like each other. Don't mistake Miss Edna for the Mr. Fisto brand. It's a common occurrence. In the end, you can actually convince both individuals to get married and you can attend the wedding. To do so, you must hit several criteria. The first is that Miss Edna must have been convinced that love is worth the risk and that she can feel how she wants. She will then announce her love for Mr. Zwicky.
I have one more question before you leave. It's not another quiz. I don't get to talk to many adults. This love I hear about, do you think you can have it for someone, even if the two of you are very, very different?
Who are you talking about?
No one. Just imagine one is tall and handsome and smart, and one is gentle but a bit metallic.
If you love someone, hold on to them. Tomorrow you might not have the chance.
Thank you. You have helped me make up my mind about something.
You also need to have advanced the quest Jewel of the Commonwealth to the point of where you know to talk to Nick Valentine or any point after that. And lastly, the fight between Riley and Kyle in the middle of town cannot be in progress. Once you've done all these things and you wait a few days and return to Diamond City, you'll find the wedding happening in front of All Faith's chapel. It's just Pastor Clements and Zwicky and Edna. No one else comes. It's kinda sad, but I get it. Pastor Clements will make some funny remarks and that's about it. The reason I chose Harold as my first video in this series is because he's the only character who has the most appearances in the Fallout franchise. That includes the original Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Fallout Shelter Online, and even the Fallout board game. He was also planned for inclusion in Van Buren, the cancelled Fallout 3 by Black Isle Studios, as well as Fallout Brotherhood of Steel 2. So he's been around, and his tale isn't necessarily one of joy. Born in 2072, he was a resident of Vault 29, a small experimental vault located in Southern California area. The vault was designed to test extreme conditions of isolation and overcrowding, leading to a unique social dynamic among its inhabitants. Harold grew up in this environment, learning to navigate the challenges of limited resources and confined living spaces. In 2085, when Harold was just 13 years old, the doors of Vault 29 finally opened, revealing a harsh and unforgiving wasteland. Harold, along with other vault dwellers, emerged into a world devastated by nuclear war, where survival was a daily struggle. Determined to make his way in this new world, Harold embarked on a journey that would take him far beyond the confines of his vault. Harold's early years in the wasteland were marked by hardship and danger. He traveled as a trader, moving between the scattered settlements and survivor communities that dotted the landscape. It was during this time that he honed his skills as a negotiator and a businessman, learning to navigate the intricate web of alliances and rivalries that define the post-apocalyptic world. In 2102, Harold's life took a fateful turn when he joined an expedition led by the brilliant scientist Richard Gray. Gray, fascinated by the mutations that had begun to appear in the wasteland, was determined to uncover their origins. The expedition led them to the ruins of Mariposa Military Base, where they discovered the source of the mutations, the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV. A catastrophic accident at the base exposed Harold to the FEV, triggering a transformation that would change him forever. He mutated into a ghoul-like creature, his body forever altered by the virus. Despite this transformation, Harold retained his humanity, his mind untouched by the horrors of the wasteland. Returning to the hub, Harold found himself a changed man. He was shunned by many of his former friends and companions who saw him as a monster. Undeterred, Harold settled in the impoverished district of Old Town, where he lived among the outcasts and misfits of society. It was here that he began to forge a new life for himself, using his knowledge and skills to help those in need. Despite his hardships, Harold remained a respected figure in the hub, known for his wisdom and his willingness to help others. He became a repository of knowledge, a living link to the world that existed before the war. His stories and his advice were sought after by many, and he became a mentor to a new generation of wastelanders. In the years that followed, Harold's travels took him to many places, from the deserts of New California to the swamps of the Gulf Coast. He witnessed firsthand the rise and fall of civilizations, the triumphs and tragedies of humanity struggling to survive in a world gone mad. But it was in the capital wasteland that Harold's story would take its most unexpected turn. In his later years, Harold found himself rooted to the spot by a strange and miraculous growth, a tree that had sprouted from his head, which he had named Bob. This tree, a unique and mysterious creation, became the focus of a new cult, the Tree Minders, who worshipped Harold as a god.
Despite his newfound status, Harold remained a humble and wise figure, guiding his followers with compassion and understanding. He came to see his condition not as a curse, but as a gift, a chance to make a difference in the world and to help others find peace and purpose in their lives. Harold's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the power of compassion and understanding in a world ravaged by war and destruction. He's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope, always the possibility of redemption and renewal. And though his journey may have been long and difficult, Harold's legacy lives on, a beacon of light in a world consumed by darkness. That's just a brief summary of the life he lived. I can't get too in-depth with the details or else this video would be way longer, but let's go over some interesting facts about Harold. Harold's transformation differs from typical exposure to FEV. Rather than becoming a super mutant, his unique condition stems from a blend of radiation damage due to prolonged low-level environmental exposure and direct contact with FEV. This has resulted in his development as a distinct hybrid type species. The tree that grows out of Harold, eventually overwhelming him, is known as Bob. Bob originated from a small sprig that emerged from Harold's head after his exposure to FEV in the Mariposa military base. Initially modest in size, Bob's growth accelerated, culminating in a full-size tree that overtook Harold and anchored itself to the ground in the Capital Wasteland region. Since 2277, the two have remained rooted to the spot for over 2 decades. Harold regards Bob as a friend, often conversing with him as though he were voicing his thoughts aloud. Occasionally, Harold playfully refers to Bob as Herbert and makes several remarks about the literal and figurative closeness of their relationship. When the Lone Wanderer first approaches Bob and Harold, Harold mentions that he could see their approach through the leaves of the other trees, which, while impressive, causes Bob to feel jealous. The player characters can interact with him in Fallout 1, where he gives the Vault Dweller more information on missing caravans. In Fallout 2, the Chosen One helps Harold by addressing the Gecko power plant issue. Harold is worried that if the pollution continues, Vault City may launch an attack on Gecko, potentially leading to the death of all the ghouls living there. If the quest is successfully completed in favor of the ghouls, Harold will express his gratitude to the Chosen One when spoken to afterwards, mistakenly referring to them as the Vault Dweller. This conversation opportunity occurs only once, but if pursued, Harold will reward the player character with 5 stim packs and 3 super stim packs. And in Fallout 3, after defeating the Enclave, Harold continued his journey. The tree growing from his head grew larger, bearing tough seeds that could thrive in harsh environments. He eventually reached the Capital Wasteland, where he was overwhelmed by Bob and rooted to the ground. A wanderer named Birch found him and founded the Tree Minders to protect Harold. As the tree flourished, animals were drawn to the area. Over time, Bob's roots spread throughout the cave system, making it clear that Harold would remain rooted unless mercifully killed. Harold used his ability to attract wanderers, hoping to find someone to end his suffering. In 2277, the Lone Wanderer arrived, and Harold asked to be euthanized. Despite his depression, the Tree Minders saw his requests as tests of their moral and spiritual strength. Birch wanted to contain Bob's spread, while Laurel wanted to share the gift with everyone. The player can choose to fulfill Harold's wish or persuade him to live on and decide Bob's fate. He also has some quests in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel where you help him receive pieces of his body, but Bethesda does treat that game as non-canon. In Fallout New Vegas, the strip letters are a collection of paper notes that the player can discover while exploring the various locations within the strip, including its casinos and the NCR Embassy. These notes are typically found scattered around these areas and provide additional background information, lore, or clues related to the game's story and characters. Strip Letter 1 is found in a guest room in the east end of Vault 21, from the eastern door to the recreational room to the right. It says, "Dear Edna, lost all our money at the casinos. Send more ASAP. We'll get it all back. Trust me, Lenny." Sounds like Lenny here is stuck in the gambler's fallacy and assumes that his next big win is surely to hit based on all of his previous losses. Remember, 99% of gamblers quit right before their big hit. P.S. This is sarcasm and you shouldn't gamble. Strip Letter 2 is found in a guest room in the southeast end of Vault 21. It says, "Billy, don't be mad, but I lost all of our savings at the tops last night. It's not my fault. I was on a hot streak and was up 2,000 caps, but then I had a run of bad luck and lost it all. I'm gonna see if I can scrounge up a few caps and try to get it all back. Please don't hate me, Sue." I should add that all these people cannot be found in the game. Well, so far. It appears Sue is another victim to the strip. Honestly, these letters are kinda sad. They give you a realistic glimpse into the lives of gambling addicts. Strip letter 3 is found in Vault 21 in the guest room just west of the inaccessible door to the south. It says, "Hey mom, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that I didn't lose all my money on the silly gambling games, as you call them. The bad news is that I lost all my money on one of the girls at Gamora. You would have liked her though. She was a real classy lady. Well, since there's nothing left for me here, I'm all out of caps. I'll be heading home soon. Love you, Dennis." Dennis here stayed away from the gambling scene, but couldn't contain his thirst for the women on the strip. He lets his mom know that he is heading home because of the fact. I don't know why anyone would admit this to their mom. Strip letter 4 is found inside the Las Vegas Boulevard station on the ground to the left of the Mojave Express drop box, next to letter number 5. It says, "Nicole, all of my years of hard work finally paid off. I hit the jackpot last night over at the Tops. I'll have to use a lot of the money to pay off some debts I've accrued over the years, but there's plenty left over to live well for the rest of our lives. I told you it'd happen. See you soon, Ralph." This man is 1 in a million. He actually won the jackpot and will be able to spend the rest of his life comfortable. Well, if he doesn't get eaten by some rabid mutated creature first, that is. Strip letter 5 is found inside the Las Vegas Boulevard station next to letter 4. It says, "Bruce, I think it's time we see other people. We're just not a good fit anymore. Besides, I met this amazing and rich guy at the Ultralux last night. He's a real winner, not a dirty farmhand like yourself. I never want to see you again, Lacey." This one is tough, and I feel for Bruce. A hard-working farmhand with a respectable job loses his girl to some skeezy guy on the strip. Strip letter 6 is found on the 13th floor of the Tops, the first room seen after leaving the elevator. It says, "Dear Tracy, things have been going well for me here in Vegas. I've had pretty decent luck at the tables lately, and I've been able to almost break even. I'm gonna hit the roulette tables again tomorrow. I'm gonna win big this time, real big. I can feel it. Wish me luck, Mark." Nothing of note here, just a man playing the hands. Strip letter 7 is a bit more interesting than the rest of the letters so far. It's found in a red rubble building directly east of the Monte Carlo Suites. A dead gambler with a .357 Magnum has the letter. It says, "Those gangsters at the Tops cheated me. I know it. They're cheats and liars and thieves. Their games are rigged. I've lost every last cap, every NCR bill I had left. Those slot machines, you can never win. They're programmed to just make you lose, lose, lose. Their cards are marked so their dealers can cheat you. I promise you this. Invisible ink or something. And their roulette tables? Please, what a joke. The ball must be magnetic, and they can tell it to land wherever they want. The people that do win there are plants, employees. There's no way I could have lost like that unless they were cheating. No way. No way. Those fancy suits can't buy them class. They're just a bunch of damn con men. They've taken everything from me. I have nothing left. Nothing. What am I gonna do? I was supposed to win big here. This is where dreams happen. People told me I could make a fortune here. I just had to have caps and I could win myself a new future. Now it's all gone. All gone." This one is really sad and probably where a lot of people on the strip end up. He lost it all and blames it on everything but himself. Now, I'm not saying the Tops may or may not cheat, but clearly this guy couldn't handle the mental toll. I don't need to point out the obvious of what happened here. Strip letter 8 is written by a private in the NCR military. It's found on a desk just inside the Las Vegas Boulevard station. It says, "Dear Bravo Company, being transferred to the NCR embassy on the strip has been the greatest thing that has happened to me since joining the NCR. It's a pretty easy gig watching the troopers during the day and making sure they don't get into trouble, and then we get to spend our free time hanging out at the bars and clubs, getting drunk and partying. Wish you were here, Private Seamer." We can assume Private Seamer is a military police for the NCR, and his job is to make sure that the troops visiting the strip don't get into too much trouble. Sounds like he enjoys it, and it's a cool perspective to glimpse into. Strip letter 9 is found on the mess hall table in the NCR embassy. It says, "To Private Humphreys. This has been the best 3-day pass yet. I learned my lesson early and ditched the casinos for the girls at Gamora. Now that is money well spent. You can't get that kind of service at Camp Golf. Going to sleep now while it's daylight and head back out to Gamora tonight for one last hurrah. Private Watkins." At least he knows what he enjoys. Money well spent, according to him. Unfortunately, neither Private Watkins or Humphreys can be found at Camp Golf. Strip letter 10 is found in the NCR Military Police HQ in the jail room. It says, "To Private Jackson, this is the last time I take your advice. I went to the bar at Gamora like you said. I got pissed drunk, kicked out after getting too friendly with the dancers, fell into the gutter, and puked all over myself, before being picked up by some MPs. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in the drunk tank 2 days later. Thanks for wasting my pass, jerk. Private Daniels. Sounds like the strip did this guy in. Maybe Private Seymour was the one to throw him in the cell. Who knows? And last but not least, strip letter 11, which is found on the table in the NCR Embassy's barracks, northeast corner. It says, to Private Irwin, if I hear of you pulling another prank on one of my troopers that causes them to return to duty without their clothing fully intact, I will personally make sure you get transferred to Camp Forlorn Hope and don't come back. I'll be watching you, Lieutenant Asheville. This letter is different than most, besides the fact that some may find it funnier than the rest. Private Irwin, that is mentioned in the letter, can actually be found in the embassy. Jake is a known prankster who is currently very close to being reprimanded. He mentions a prank he is planning to play on Ambassador Crocker if you ask him about it. You can also play a hand of Caravan with him. Located north of Broadcast Tower KT8 and southwest of the abandoned car fort, you'll find the location of Shale Bridge. Shale Bridge consists of the Shale Bridge tunnels and the Shale Bridge Hill. The tunnels are marked by green mushrooms, while the Shale Bridge Hill is surrounded by a golden fungus. Most of you have probably never really run across this location, and if you have, then you know what two factions are at war in this territory and for this location. On the Shale Bridge Hill lies a large ant colony full of mutated and massive ants. Similarly to the Grey Ditch ants, these ants are large and extremely aggressive. It turns out that Dr. Lesko's goal may be partially coming true, and the ants are either descendants of his wild experiments or are naturally occurring mutated creatures. Surrounded by a peculiar golden fungus, the hill is primarily home to an ant colony inhabited by ant workers, soldiers, and a formidable giant ant queen. Exploring the area reveals several points of interest. Upon entering the caves, a tunnel on the right leads to a pile of bones containing metal armor, providing a valuable find for scavengers. In the Queen's Lair, located somewhere within the hill, a lamp illuminates a corner where a couple of skeletons lie along with various weapons and ammunition, possibly left behind by previous adventurers or unfortunate victims of these ants. These tunnels are massive, by the way, so prepare to get lost. It's reminiscent of an actual ant colony, with small crevices to fit into and massive caverns that open up. It's actually quite an amazing location that many people won't run into. Towards the northeast corner of the caves, a raider skeleton can be found, equipped with an arc welder helmet, frag grenades, a stim pack, and a sledgehammer. This discovery highlights the dangers of the area, suggesting that even well-armed individuals have fallen prey to the ant colony's defenses. And that's mostly it for the hill colony. But these ants aren't the interesting bit about this location, because across from Shale Bridge Hill and inside the Shale Bridge tunnels, you'll find another ant colony, one that is currently at war with the Hill tribe. But the funny thing about these ants is, they aren't hostile, at least not towards the lone wanderer. The Shale Bridge tunnels are a small cave system in the capital wasteland, characterized by its friendly giant ant colony. The entrance, located north of the broken relay station near the hill, is marked by circular webbing surrounded by glowing mushrooms. Upon entering, the lone wanderer finds the smaller, friendlier ants under attack by larger, aggressive hill tribe ants. These larger ants will attack the lone wanderer and must be defeated to protect the colony. However, if the queen in the Shale Bridge Hill colony has already been killed, the larger ants will not be present in the tunnels. Exploring the tunnels reveals several points of interest. Nearby, there's an ant egg cluster where the player character can choose to inject a stim pack. This requires 70 science or 40 medicine, which lets you know that you're helping the growth of the colony. There's no consequences to this action, but it adds a nice roleplay aspect for the character and boosts some morality points. Additionally, there is an ant compost heap containing ant nectar, which replenishes faster after killing the giant ant queen in Shale Bridge Hill. So you can continually keep coming back to the friendly ants and collecting more nectar whenever you feel like it. The compost pile is located towards the back of the cave to the right, surrounded by glowing green mushrooms. Now, if you decide to help the friendly ants out and kill one of the larger invader ants, you will receive a message that says, it appears that these ants are from another ant colony. Perhaps attacking this rival colony would help the forager ants survive. We now get a name for these ant variants and an unmarked quest. Despite their mutated nature and the dangers they face, these forager ants are significantly smaller than other threats in the wasteland, such as rad roaches, adding to their unique characteristics found within Fallout 3. Their larger and invading cousins look no different from the great itch variety, but they're called invader ants, which does suggest that they are also a different variant. As for the unmarked quest, well, you get the picture. You can march up to Shalebridge Hill and start laying down some massive pesticide justice, killing the queen and eradicating the aggressive hunter colony that we know has attacked other humans and forager ants alike. Also, when you're killing the queen, prepare your ears for the most horrendous screech you'll ever hear in your life. This does seem like an excellent choice to make, considering that maybe the future of large mutated ants aren't the ones that want to murder and kill everyone. They would just be slightly larger ants that want to forage and live out their own peaceful existence. Just another day in the capital wasteland, full of the weirdest and wildest experiences that you may have missed in your thousands of hours. I know that I did.
Leo's drug habit is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that involves helping Leo Stahl with his chem addiction in Megaton. You can open up a dialogue option with Leo Stahl by talking to Doc Church, Lucas Sims, Mr. Burke, or by hacking Colin Moriarty's terminal in his saloon. Doc Church or Mr. Burke may mention Leo's chem habit, leading you to ask Leo about it. There's 3 paths you can take with this quest. The good karma path, you use a speech dialogue option to convince Leo to quit his addiction. He will ask you to clean up his stash in the water processing plant. This path gives you 100 XP, good karma, and Leo's key to the stash of chems and caps in the desk at the water processing plant. Then there's the neutral karma path. Initially choose the good path choice, but do not choose the speech challenge option. Instead say, I never thought about it that way. Leo will now be available as a chem dealer during his evenings in the water treatment plant. This choice does not affect karma nor give an XP reward. And last, the evil karma path. If you ask Leo what it is worth to keep him quiet, he will start dealing chems and you will gain bad karma. You can later kill him and loot the key to his stash from his corpse for more bad karma. The contents of the stash vary but include bottle caps, buff out, Med-X, Mentats, Psycho, and Stim packs. The number of the items in the stash is random. Completing the quest without harming Leo will change his brother Andy Stahl's attitude towards you, making him more friendly. In Fallout 3, there's an unmarked quest called Lightfinger's Hargrave that involves James Hargrave in Rivet City. If you have the child at heart perk, you can persuade James to steal ammo for you. He will provide you with the stolen ammo 12 hours after your initial conversation with him, and then every 12 hours afterward. As a reward, you'll receive random types of ammo from James. There's a chance to get rare types of ammo like the 44 rounds, which is used for powerful weapons such as the Scope 44 Magnum, Black Hawk, Callahan's Magnum, and Lincoln's Repeater. If James runs away after you've used the Child at Heart dialogue option and you manage to convince him to return, it'll take a few in-game days before he will steal the ammo for you again. In Fallout 3, the quest Lincoln's Profit Margins involves collecting the 9 artifacts related to Abraham Lincoln found in the Museum of History. These artifacts can be sold to various characters in the Capital Wasteland, including Hannibal Hamlin, the leader of the ex-slaves at the Temple of Union, Leroy Walker, the leader of the slavers at the Lincoln Memorial, or Abraham Washington, a historian at Rivet City. The artifacts include Lincoln's diary, hat, voice, action figure, Civil War draft poster, John Wilkes Booth wanted poster, Lincoln Memorial poster, antique coin collection, and Lincoln's repeater rifle. Each item can be sold for different amount of caps, and the price can be doubled with a successful speech check or higher barter skill. Selling certain items to Leroy Walker grants access to the Lincoln Memorial without being attacked. However, once sold, the items cannot be retrieved except for the Lincoln Memorial poster, which can be pickpocketed back from Leroy. In Fallout 3, the unmarked quest A Manhandled Manservant revolves around finding out the fate of Argyle, the missing manservant of Herbert Daring Dashwood. Herbert Dashwood, a retired adventurer living in Tenpenny Tower, believes that Argyle is still alive and asks the player to inform him if they find any sign of his whereabouts. Upon visiting Rockopolis, the player discovers Argyle's corpse, indicating that he did not survive their escape from Rockopolis. Returning to Herbert Dashwood with this news, he expresses sadness at Argyle's demise and gives the player the key to his safe as a reward. Inside the safe, the player finds various items, including bottle caps, Mentats, a mini nuke, Rad-X, bottle cap mine schematics, a stealth boy, and a stim pack. It's important to talk to Herbert Dashwood about Argyle before completing the quest involving Roy Phillips and the ghouls at Tenpenny Tower, as this affects the outcome of the quest. If the ghouls are allowed into the tower and kill Dashwood, the player will lose the opportunity to complete the quest. The unmarked quest Merchant Empire involves investing in the caravan merchants of Canterbury Commons to improve their trading capabilities. This quest is given by Uncle Roe in Canterbury Commons. To start the quest, the player must talk to Uncle Roe about the possibility of unifying the traders. If the player has the Master Trader perk, a high barter skill, the Black Widow perk, or is carrying at least 250 bottle caps, Uncle Roe will offer a map showing the paths of the merchants and their trade stops, as well as the option to invest in any of the caravans. Investing in a caravan costs an initial 200 caps, followed by a second investment of 500 caps, totaling 2,800 caps for all upgrades. The Master Trader perk reduces these costs by half. Each investment improves the merchant's inventory, repairability, and caps on hand total. Each caravan merchant corresponds to a different type of goods: armor, food, medicine, miscellaneous items, and weapons. After fully invested caravan, the player will receive a gift from the merchant the next time they meet. Gifts include Crow's Eyebot helmet, 2 to 6 stealth boys from Crazy Wolf Gang, and 3 to 7 stim packs from Doc Hoff. Oh, and also a mini nuke from Lucky Harith. The quest provides a way to improve the trading experience with these merchants and adds a layer of depth to the trading system in the game. The unmarked and repeatable quest Mississippi Quantum Pie is given by Sierra in Girder Shade. After completing the Nuka-Cola Challenge quest, Sierra can make Mississippi Quantum Pie if you bring her the proper ingredients: 1 flour, 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum, and 1 vodka. The reward is a delicious Mississippi Quantum Pie. Murphy's Bombing Run is an unmarked and repeatable quest given by Murphy, a ghoul scientist at the Northwest Seneca Station. Murphy's working on an improved version of the drug Jet called Ultra Jet and needs sugar bombs as an ingredient. For every box of sugar bombs the player character brings him, he offers to pay 15 caps, which can also be increased to 30 caps with a speech check. The player character can then purchase Ultra Jet from him for every 8 boxes of sugar bombs turned in. In Our Little Secret, an unmarked quest in Fallout 3, the player character is tasked with uncovering the dark secrets of the residents of Andale and deciding how to deal with them. The quest is initiated by speaking to Old Man Harris, who warns the player to stay away from the town. To uncover the secret, the player must enter either the garden shed or the basement of the Smith's house. Both doors are very hard difficulty to pick, lockpick 100. Alternatively, the player can pickpocket the keys from either Bill Wilson or Jack Smith, or steal the keys from their houses, which also results in negative karma. Inside the basement or shed, the player discovers that the strange meat the residents consume is actually human flesh. Upon leaving the area, the player is confronted by the town residents, excluding Junior, Jenny, and Old Man Harris. If the player did not speak to Harris first and pick the lock during the day, the residents will immediately attack. There are 2 speech checks available during the conversation with the residents. The first option is to play it off as if the player was just considering getting a snack, with the cannibal perk making this a guaranteed success. Another option is to play coy and not answer directly, which leads to an easier speech check for passive acceptance of their behavior. If successful in convincing the residents that nothing is wrong and agreeing to keep their secret, the residents will be kind to the player, and Linda Smith will offer a free strange meat pie daily. However, if the player refuses to keep the secret, the residents become hostile, forcing the player to kill them all. After dealing with the residents, the player can speak to Old Man Harris, who reveals more about the town's history and agrees to help raise the children right. He explains that Andale was not only a town of cannibals, but also a town of inbred cannibals. It's worth noting that Old Man Harris is the only resident of Andale who is not a cannibal. He tries to warn the player about the townsfolk's actions, but they dismiss his warnings as ramblings. In the unmarked quest Overdose in Fallout 3, the player encounters Polly Cantelli, a chem addict in Rivet City who is always looking for more chems like Psycho and Buffout. The quest involves giving Polly Psycho, which results in negative karma for the player. If the player gives Polly Psycho, they'll go to an unused room on the midship deck to use the cycle, and he will ultimately die from an overdose. After Polly's death, his wife Cindy Cantelli, who owns a Quick Fix, will be relieved because she can finally make a profit from her products, without Polly taking all the chems from her store. It's worth noting that just 1 dose of Psycho is enough to make Polly overdose, and giving him additional doses before he reaches his destination will result in even more negative karma for the player. In the unmarked and repeatable quest Ryan Briggs's Wonder Meat in Fallout 3, the player encounters Ryan Brigg in the Jury Street tunnels. Brigg is a hostile NPC who has been experimenting with making mole rat meat more palatable. Through his experiments, he's discovered a method using a combination of mole rat meat and wonder glue. The player can learn from a terminal in the area that Brigg has succeeded in producing what he calls mole rat wonder meat. Using Briggs's Wonder Meat Maker, the player can combine a slab of mole rat meat with a bottle of wonder glue to produce a single piece of mole rat wonder meat as a reward. In the unmarked quest searching for Cheryl in Fallout 3, the player follows the trail of a search party that went out to find Cheryl, the sister of the party leader. The quest unfolds through the discovery of several burial mounds containing log entries from the search party. The first log can be found in El Enfant South, near the irradiated metro. The second log is located in the Ranger compound, accessible with a code from Riley during the Riley's Ranger quest or by hacking a very hard terminal. The third log is north of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in a grave near the Raider camp. The final log is northwest of the sewer way station, near a big Corvega billboard. The player eventually finds Manny Koch, the leader of the search party, dead in a camp of super mutants near the Jury Street metro station. The main reward for completing this quest is a mini nuke found on the super mutant behemoth in the camp. In the unmarked quest Slave Hunt in Fallout 3, the player meets Mei Wong in Rivet City, who reveals that she used to be a slave and is now afraid of Slaver named Sister, who is on the ship hunting a rogue android. May is scared that Sister might recognize her as a former slave. The player has several options to deal with the situation. You could enslave May again, which turns Rivet City hostile and earns the player bad karma. You can tell Sister that May is an escaped slave, which leads to May committing suicide and earns the player bad karma. You can give May 25 caps to purchase a pistol, allowing her to defend herself. This earns the player plus 100 karma and the location of the Temple of the Union. You can kill Sister, which makes Rivet City hostile, including May, but the player does not lose karma. Coming back after Rivet City calms down may result in ire from the guards, but thanks from May. Each choice has different consequences, affecting the player's karma and the disposition of Rivet City's residents. Strictly Profitable is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3, available after completing the Strictly Business quest. In this quest, players can use the Mesmetron acquired from Grouse in Paradise Falls to enslave non-player characters, for a reward of 250 caps per captive. This quest allows players to enslave NPCs other than the 4 VIPs required for Strictly Business. Grouse also sells Mesmetron power cells at a higher price of 200 caps per 10 rounds. Players can offset the high price of the power cells by carefully utilizing the initial 50 rounds given by Grouse, as he also pays caps for turning in the VIPs. It's important to note that the enslaved NPCs other than the 4 required for Strictly Business will disappear permanently from the game. Additionally, there are certain NPCs like those in Moriarty's Saloon and Megaton who cannot be enslaved using the Mesmetron. In the Kid Kidnapper, an unmarked quest in Fallout 3, players can receive the assignment from Eulogy Jones in Paradise Falls after visiting Little Lamplight. The goal is to convince a child named Bumble from Little Lamplight to follow the player outside, where a child slaver is waiting. This can be achieved by passing a speech check or using the Child at Heart perk. Players receive the Boogeyman's Hood as a reward from Eulogy Jones for completing the quest. It's also possible to receive the hood while still having Bumble remain in Little Lamplight, and also keeping the slavers friendly, although 200 karma is still lost and Bumble wears her slave collar permanently. This involves convincing Bumble to follow the player outside, waiting for the slaver to put the collar on her, then fast traveling to Paradise Falls to talk to Eulogy, fast traveling back to Little Lamplight, and then getting the slaver killed by any means other than the player character or a follower. The Lost Initiate is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that starts in Falls Church. Paladin Haas informs the player that during a super mutant attack, Initiate Peck became trapped in an office building while Haas and another Paladin were fighting nearby. Knight Church was killed in the attack. Haas asks you to help rescue Peck, who is barricaded in a janitor's closet. You storm the building, find Peck cowering with a jam gun, and can fix his gun with enough skill. Once rescued, Peck follows you outside to join Haas. The Outcast Collection Agent is a repeatable and unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that can be started at Fort Independence. Protector Kasdan, the leader of the Outcast, asks the player to trade certain pieces of technology such as power armor, energy weapons, sensor modules, and scrap metal. In return, the player can choose to receive ammunition, grenades, or medical supplies, or even caps. To start the quest, visit Fort Independence and speak with Defender Morgan, who will introduce you to the Outcasts. Then, talk to Protector Kasdan and offer to trade technology items for rewards. Kasdan will accept certain items and reward you with points based on their value. Once you accumulate 50 points, you are considered friendly by the Outcasts and can enter Fort Independence without hostility. It's another great quest for players who enjoy role-playing in my opinion. It gives you a reason to go find technology and immerse yourself into the Brotherhood Outcasts. The Runaways is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that begins in Rivet City. James Hargrave, a resident of Rivet City, can be engaged in conversation about his troubled family situation. If you bring up his alcoholic mother, it can lead to a speech challenge where you can insult and goad James into running away from home. This action earns you bad karma and has repercussions, as CJ Young, a well-behaved girl from the Young family, later goes missing and you may be implicated. A female Rivet City guard may mention seeing James and CJ running across the Rivet City Bridge to the mainland, which can lead you to find them at Anacostia Crossing Station. You have the option to bring them back home, where CJ will be able to talk to you. This old house is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 that can be found in the Museum of History in Underworld. Winthrop, a ghoul resident of Underworld, offers a trade where the player can exchange 5 pieces of scrap metal for a single stim pack, Radaway, or Rad-X. To initiate the quest, the player needs to speak with Winthrop. However, if the player's strength, small guns, big guns, energy weapons, or melee weapon skills are high enough, they can threaten Winthrop into giving them 10 stim packs and Radaway, bypassing the need to collect the scrap metal. It's important to note that this quest does not award experience points for both turning in scrap metal, unlike the quest Walter's Scrap Metal. Additionally, if the player does not have at least 5 scrap metal in their inventory, they cannot turn in any. Treatment is an unmarked quest in Fallout 3 that can be started by talking to Walter in Megaton. Walter asks for help in fixing the broken pipes around Megaton, and he doesn't have the time to do it himself while also maintaining the water plant. To fix the pipes, the players need a repair skill of at least 30. After fixing all the pipes, Walter will reward the player with 200 caps and 100 XP. He will then also offer to buy scrap metal from the player in another unmarked quest called Walter's Scrap Metal to help maintain the pipes in the future. Water Beggars is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 where wastelanders suffering from dehydration ask for purified water. Giving them purified water rewards the player character with plus 50 karma. There are 3 beggars: Mickey outside Megaton, Carlos outside Rivet City, and Willie outside Tenpenny Tower. If the player denies them water, they will die at the next map change, even if they were given purified water before. However, if the player tells them to find their own water and then gives them water, they will live on. There are some complexities with giving Aqua Pura, and if the modified FEV was used to infect the water as part of Project Impurity. Giving Aqua Pura will subtract 50 karma and kill the beggar on the next map load. Yearning for Learning is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 given by Scribe Yearling at the Arlington Library. Scribe Yearling is searching for pre-war books to supplement the Brotherhood archives at the Citadel. She offers to pay 100 caps and 10 XP for every pre-war book given to her. Zip's Nuka Fix is an unmarked and repeatable quest in Fallout 3 given by Zip in Little Lamplight. Zip will trade various items for Nuka-Cola to satisfy his Nuka-Cola addiction. The reward received depends on the player character's barter skill and a random factor.
You're still here. Have you at least seen the signs yet? If not, you have a lot of work to do. A lot. I'm trying to save you. Save all of them. They made me this way. You'll see soon. When the storm comes, find the code.